4th down and 6. Olbridge got to have it. Shotgun formation. Nugent, a lot of time. Rolls out. He's running out of space. Will roll the other way. They look. Corner of the end zone. Touchdown!
Rowan heading for the touchpad with the lead. And the props will take the men's 400-yard freestyle relay.
Andrews will be in shotgun. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff. He'll throw it down the left sideline. He's got a wide open receiver. He's got the touchdown.
Motion man is Simmons. Trotman throwing towards Simmons down the field, and he makes the catch in traffic for a Bearcats touchdown.
Back to pass, middle of the field. The catch is made by Britt. She's off to the races at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Britt is in for the score.
Back on in, here's Yoxie. Yoxie to the backhand, trying to go to the front, makes the move and shot, and he scores!
And Gracie comes set and delivers. And that's it on the ground to second. Throw to first, in time, and the ball game is over. South Shore survives a late scare, and they are the 2024 New York State Little League Baseball champions.
Live from the Joseph F. Facina Field in New Rochelle, New York, PDF Sports Network is proud to welcome you into coverage of the Elite Football Alliance and this, the Elite Football Alliance Championship Bowl 8, as two familiar rivals, two teams that have seen each other more than any other pair of teams in league history. This time match up for it all in the championship game. It's the Empire State Demon Knights, the number 2 seed, against the top dogs, the New York Bandits, who come in with a record of 8-1. Good evening, everybody. My name is David Pizzuto, being joined alongside Cameron Williams. And Cam, deja vu for us. About a month or so ago, we were here at Facina and we saw a war between the Demon Knights and the New York Bandits. We get the feeling that this championship game should live up to the billing of being another great matchup in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. The weekend of September 27th, just a little bit over a month ago, Dave, we were right back here. And a little bit of deja vu, like you said, yesterday was Halloween, and I'm sure that the New York Demon Knights, the Empire State Demon Knights, are looking for revenge here tonight for the championship. This is for it all, Dave, and we are expecting a very solid game, just like we saw a little bit over a month ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And that game, that regular season game, was one of two between these two teams. And Cam, the first game in this series was a 6-0 win for the Bandits. The second one was a 20-16 win, so a little bit more scoring in the second meeting between these two teams. But still, these two teams essentially have been holding court all season. You can see it on your screen, the final standings in the EFA. That does include the playoff games, a week ago. But these two teams have been the top two teams all season long, Cam. So it's almost fitting that they should meet here again for the third time.
Yeah, like you said, They've met this year 2 times already. Both times have been within 6 points deciding the game. This is where the Demon Knights are going to have to really try to hold their self and hold their ground here. The New York Bandits have been dominant all season, 8-1, right, Dave? But let's not forget about the Demon Knights. They are the only team in this division that have really contested the Bandits all season long. If we take a look back to postseason week 1, which just happened last week, New York Bandits won 32-8 over Connecticut Tar Heels, and the Demon Knights won 20-6. So both teams won with very good margins, right. But here's where it starts to close. Those margins get thinner and thinner, especially with these two rival teams. And Dave, I expect it's going to be another similar night where this game will be a decision by 1 score.
Yeah, you'd have to think that that's the way it's trending. This should be another 1-score game between these two sides. And, Cam, let's talk first about the New York Bandits. Since they finished as the top seed, we'll take a look at what they've done during the regular season. But you could see the thing that stands out, Cam, are the 2 games against the SDK. Obviously, that's the rivalry that's born again here. But they did lose that final regular season game of the season. They lost it by a big 16 points. Now, they rebounded nicely against Connecticut last week in their playoff game. But is that a benefit, or is that a takeaway for this Bandits season heading into a game like this?
Yeah, the Bandits losing their last game of the regular season, at least, definitely does not, make you feel good going into the postseason. But I will say the Bandits, after losing the first game and then going into the postseason, which everyone starts with an 0-0 record in the postseason, I like that I saw them jump out and really go after them, winning by a very strong margin versus Connecticut. I like to see that, but then, you look at it again. Like you said, is that beneficial or is it not? In my opinion, I think it's beneficial that they almost got humbled a little bit in a sense to where they didn't go completely undefeated the whole season and had to go into the postseason with almost a new mindset of that really you're 0-0.
Right.
You're not unbeatable. Teams can beat you. You have to change the mindset. And they did that, and they showed why they are such a dominant team when they won over Connecticut Tar Heels 32-8.
Yeah, and that was a nice matchup for them. Obviously, it was a matchup that was favorable considering how they did against the Tar Heels in their previous 2 games against them. You see those scores on your screen, 20-6 and 26-0. But that's the positive about finishing with the number 1 seed. And we talked about the Bandits and the Demon Knights in their last regular season game, how that pretty much determined the first, the number 1 seed and who was going to draw that number 4 seed, which was going to be advantageous. But you look on the other side with the Demon Knights, they've taken care of business as well. You could see their regular season schedule in front of you here, Cam, and you could see the losses against the Bandits. Now, the loss against the Gravediggers is a little bit riddled with controversy. They were actually winning that game, but what happened was a field problem. The lights went out on the field, and because that was a home game for the Demon Knights and the game, of course, was still up in the air, the Demon Knights had to take the L via the forfeit. Otherwise, they were winning that game. So when you think about it, Cam, the final regular season game for the Bandits, they lose to the Gravediggers. The next to last final game of the season for the Demon Knights, they were beating the Gravediggers, one of 2 wins against the Gravediggers. Then, of course, you have the win against the Lions in the last game, and then, of course, another win against the Gravediggers in the playoffs. As a Demon Knight fan and a player, that has to make you pretty confident going into a game like this, the fact that you were able to take care of a team that gave the Bandits problems.
Yeah, and the Gravediggers, like you said, all season have been pretty pesky to both teams. The Gravediggers have been in just about every game so far this season, and really they handed the New York Bandits their first loss of the season. So with that being said, the Demon Knights being able to beat them 20-6 last week, going into this playoff game, knowing that the Empire State the Bandits lost to the Gravediggers, that's got to make you feel some sort of, that you have a shot, really,
right.
A good shot, too. That it's even more level playing field than we so think, because if you look at 8-16 and 9-27, both were within 1 score. So I think the Demon Knights, they feel good about this game. I think the pressure's on the New York Bandits, really, coming off of a big win versus Connecticut, but they also played the last team in the seed,
Right.
So you kind of have to weigh both options here. A dominant win versus Connecticut Tar Heels, but the New York Demon Knights won by 2 scores versus the Gravediggers, who have given both teams trouble so far and really handed the New York Bandits their first loss of the year.
Yeah, and the other part to think about too, Cam, is that the Demon Knights, that game that we covered them against the Bandits, they gave up 20 points. They have not allowed more than 1 score in a game. That's the only game that they gave up more than 1 score, and they felt like they were in that game. It makes this matchup one that could go either way, and both of these teams know it. So, Cam, why don't we step aside, take a break. When we come back, we're actually going to talk to some of the players and coaches who are going to be playing in today's game. I had a chance to catch up with both teams. Now, we were supposed to start at 6:30 for this game. However, there was a soccer game right before this game that went into penalties, went into overtime, and then it went into penalty kicks. So we think that we're probably going to start probably around 6:45 for this game. So we still have a little bit of time. So what we'll do is step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll go down on the field to talk to our players and coaches ahead of EFA Championship Bowl 8. It's the Bandits against the Demon Knights coming up next. can't have football without barbecue, and there is no barbecue without the Rib Room's Black's Barbecue, official partner of the Elite Football Alliance, serving up rib plates, chicken plates, and combo plates now. To get your official Black's Barbecue order, call 347-837-5762 or Facebook direct message Sean Kelman.
At MassMutual Tri-State, our financial professionals are dedicated to your financial well-being and focused on helping you achieve your financial goals. We provide expertise in crafting strategies that align with your specific needs. We offer industry-leading insurance solutions, financial planning, and wealth management tailored to support your pursuit of a financially secure future. Whether you're planning for retirement, protecting your loved ones, or growing your wealth, we're here to guide you every step of the way. So please call Rich Caruso at 732-623-5700 with any questions and to set an appointment with one of our financial professionals. Thank you. Local firms are sales offices of Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company, MassMutual, Springfield, Massachusetts, and are not subsidiaries of MassMutual or its affiliated companies. Securities and investment advisory services offered through qualified registered representatives of MML Investor Services, LLC. Member SIPC, 732-623-5700.
When only the most trusted law services are needed, then you need Justin Feinman, Esquire, now a proud sponsor of the EFA. Specializing in family, matrimonial, and criminal law, Justin Feinman has been meeting the needs of clients and families for years and with results that matter. Operating out of Garden City, contact attorney Justin Feinman at justin@jfnylaw.com or call 516-429-9500. Unbeatable Tires and Accessories LLC is your tire for all seasons. Visit us 7 days a week and call us now at 347-879-3100. A tire for all seasons at Unbeatable Tires and Accessories, official partner of the Elite Football Alliance. The EFA is proud to be sponsored by KD's Black Magic Seal Coating. At KD's, we specialize in residential and commercial seal coating, crack filling, pothole repair, parking lot striping, and much more. Our licensed and insured team treats your project with great care and free estimates always. Contact Corey today at 631-562-8865 or email mrkd8985@gmail.com. Attention local businesses and professionals. Isn't it time to elevate your game? Now you can advertise your business or product on PDF Sports Network. Your ad will appear on all of our broadcasts, including this one. Don't have a commercial? We'll make one for you, absolutely free. What better way to showcase your product and brand while supporting the best local sports, teams, and leagues? Call now at 732-723-8189 or visit us at pdfsportsnet.com. All right, welcome back here to Joseph F. Facina Field in New Rochelle, New York, home of EFA Championship Bowl 8 between the Demon Knights and the Bandits. In case you're tuning in, looking to see kickoff. We are a little bit delayed in this game because of a previous rental that went over the time slot, a soccer game that went into penalty kick shootout. So we're probably about 10, 15 minutes or so away from opening kickoff. But that gives us a perfect opportunity now to go down on the field a little bit earlier. I met with players and coaches from both sides. And let's send it down now to our first interview where we caught up with Demon Knights quarterback Ricardo Caballero. All right, Cam, I am here with Ricardo Caballero, the quarterback for the Empire State Demon Knights. Ricardo, this is the EFA championship. You guys, have gone through the season, but nothing compares to this game with this amount of magnitude. Tell us a little bit about how you're feeling and how the team is feeling coming into this one.
We're really just ready to go, ready to play our brand of football. We're a running team. They know that. We know that. Everybody knows that. We're going to bring it anyway. We're going to sprinkle in some passes here and there. Play all three phases of football, just protect the ball, play smart, do what we got to do, run the plays and, play tough.
Absolutely. And no two teams in the EFA over the course of the existence of the EFA have played more than the Demon Knights against the Bandits. This is a team that you've seen a lot over the course of your career and, of course, year to year. Tell me a little bit about their team, what you know about them, what they like to do, and the things that you need to do to come out of here with a win.
They have a good team. They have a lot of, good players. I would say they have a couple of new players from, past years. Their quarterback can really, he could throw it, he could run. We got to stop that, make sure. Big lineman. So, we know what we have to go up against today, and we know what we have to do.
Okay, and, final question, Ricardo. The last time you guys played, we covered the game, and it was a very even game. It finished 20-16 in their favor, but it seemed like they made some fourth downs happen. You guys just couldn't convert on fourth down, but you guys were able to really, go down the field against them. Does that provide you with a lot of confidence coming into a game like this?
Yeah, for sure. We know what we got. We know what we can do. Don't want to give you all our magic, right? But we're here to play football today, and it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful night for football, for sure.
Right. Excellent, Ricardo. Thank you. Good luck tonight. All right. Cam, we'll throw it back up to you. ESDK quarterback Ricardo Caballero not wanting to give up the X's and O's, but he shouldn't have to. We kind of know what this ESDK team wants to do during games. Can they check those boxes and come up over the top and beat this Bandits team? Another guy who will have a lot to say about that is ESDK owner and coach for this game, won't be suiting up. Sean Spencer joined us during pregame as well. Let's throw it down to our interview earlier tonight with Sean. All right, Cam, I am here with Sean Spencer. Sean is, of course, the team owner here of the Demon Knights, one of the officials of the EFA itself. We'll do a lot of coaching here tonight on the sidelines. Sean, you're no stranger to this field, to this league, obviously, to this game. Tell me a little bit about the prep work that comes into something like this and the anticipation factor coming into playing the Bandits.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. No, I'm just kidding.
Says that all.
So, there's a lot of prep into this. This is one of this team that we're playing. We've been playing them for over 20 years. We've been up and down against them. In the beginning of our team, when we were the Wolfpack originally, which I want to mention, by the way, about our jerseys later, but we were definitely the inferior team. They beat us all the time. And then there was a good swing of 8 years where they couldn't beat us at all. And last year they killed us. So, we're looking for our get back right here.
Absolutely. And speaking of that get back, I was telling Ricardo the same thing. The last time we were on this field, especially, very even game. Same thing when you guys played in Long Island, a one-score game. They seemed to check that last box, that last play of the drive that you guys could not. Tell me a little bit about how do you reverse that in a game like this?
So it really comes down to the way we're playing, right? Like every team goes home at the end of the game. I promise you at every level of the sport, and they say, oh, that team didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. And I could tell you that in every time that we've lost to the Bandits, we definitely beat ourselves. We did not play well in either game. The games were separated by 10 points over the two games. They just find a way. On 4th and 25 and I think 4th and 27, they scored on the 2 touchdowns in the last game, and they beat us by 1 touchdown. So if we can hold on for 2 4th downs, we win that game by a touchdown. So it really comes down to we have to play better.
And Sean, I can imagine sometimes it's difficult for you because when you're wearing the league hat, right, all you want to do is see a great game and the league showcase. But what would it mean for you as a team owner? You've been through this all 8 years, but you've never been able to claim an EFA title. That speaks a lot to the talent level that's here in the EFA, and it speaks to how tough it is to win this championship. Tell me a little bit about what it would mean to you personally to lift that trophy tonight.
It also speaks to the level of pouring that lemon over that wound. No, what it does. Listen, as an owner of a team, it's different than being an owner of a league. It's different than being an official. It's different than being everything. Like, you have to be able to wear different hats, right? And you have to be able to separate yourself during the league meeting and say, hey, what's good for the league and what's good for my team. But today, right now, I'm not worried about what's good for anything other than the Demonites, right? And what's good for the Demonites is to win a championship. We've been to the championship multiple times, and we lost every time. So, it's not cool to be the person that comes home second, right? It's not fun. It's not what we look for. It's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is win today. And I think, honestly, like, I woke up with a different vibe. My guys are on a different headspace. I really do feel good about today. I have a very positive outlook for today.
Awesome, Sean. Any last words before we catch up to you post game?
Ooh, that's going to be a much different conversation after the game, one way or another. That's going to be a much different conversation. But yeah, listen, we have some stuff that I want to get out after the game about the future of the EFA and what we're doing. We're making moves. We're already making moves now for next year, which is incredible because it's never like that. We never really, ahead of the game like that when it comes to league stuff. So after that, I'll take the Demonite cap off and I'll put the owner cap on for the EFA, and I'll tell you guys about that stuff. But it is a lot of really interesting stuff. So,
all right. Good luck tonight, young man.
Thank you.
All right. Cam, we'll send it back up to you. All right. Always great to catch up with Sean Spencer. Obviously, a lot of knowledge and a lot of history here in the EFA, but has never been able to claim a championship here in the Elite Football Alliance. We'll see if he's able to do just that. One of the guys that's standing in his way, though, and somebody who's going to have a lot to say about that ESDK try for a championship will be Bandits quarterback David Ugarte. He's been a member of this team for a while now. Champion, looking to go back-to-back. We caught up with David prior to kickoff as well on the Bandits side of the field. Let's go down for that interview with Bandits quarterback David Ugarte. All right, Cam, I am here with New York Bandits quarterback David Ugarte. David, I'll ask you the same questions I asked those guys on the other side. You guys are very familiar with the Demonites. You know a lot about them. You've played them twice during the season. What do we know about them, and what's it going to take for you guys to come out of here with a win and a championship?
I can start off. They're a very feisty team. They run the ball a lot, and they're very efficient running the ball. So on defense, all we got to do is just, everybody just do their job. Offense, we just got to, finish blocks. I got to make perfect throws, and then just be efficient on all three phases, offense, defense, and special teams.
Gotcha. And last time we were on this field, we covered the game between you and the Demonites, and you guys made some spectacular plays on fourth down. Is it when your backs are up against the wall that you guys are performing best like that? But tell me a little bit about those fourth downs and that magic you guys have.
Yeah, for some reason, we're always do better when our back's against the walls. There's been a lot of games that we've come back from behind, but today we're not trying to make that happen.
Right. And speaking of coming back from behind, your last game was against the Gravediggers. Understood you were a little bit shorthanded on the coaching side, but the bottom line is that's a loss for you guys. How much of that plays into a game like this and not taking anything for granted and making sure you guys finish out with a win here?
It goes back to just watching film, kind of perfecting our craft and just understanding our job at the end of the day, understanding everybody's assignments and just being efficient at the end of the day. We only have one practice throughout the week that we're able to practice, and we take that practice serious. Even if it's 2 hours, 3 hours, everybody takes that practice serious. So at the end of the day, it's just continue watching film and just coming out here and just being efficient.
All right. And David, final question. You guys were the champs last year. You were the winning quarterback last year. Obviously, a team looking for that leadership, looking for that know-how. What's it going to take for you guys to be the repeat champions? And what would that mean to you personally to be the back-to-back?
It would mean a lot personally, especially with this program. This program has a lot of history. That's why I asked one of my coaches when's the last time we went back-to-back, and it was about 20-something plus years. So to be able to do that and repeat that again is going to be definitely personal for me, just to be able to bring that back to this organization.
Excellent. Dave, nice catching up with you. Good luck tonight. All right, you got it. Cam, we'll throw it back up to you. It's hard not to be a fan of David Ugarte, one of the best in the EFA, and, of course, looking for that back-to-back champion. that back-to-back championship and potentially an MVP award for him. Who knows? But we spoke to Sean Spencer on the ESDK sideline. We caught up with another Sean Kelman, the defensive coordinator for the Bandits, joined us pregame as well. And we'll get to hear what they want to do on their side of the ball on the sidelines. Let's go down to our pregame interview with defensive coordinator Sean Kelman. All right, Cam, I am here with Coach Kelman, defensive coordinator for the New York Bandits. Coach, team across the way, you've seen them plenty of time. You know a lot about them. Tell me a little bit about the matchups earlier in the season and how you take that knowledge in for a game like this.
Early in the season, we matched up pretty well. Both games was close. I think we won the first game by 4 points or 2 points.
6 and then 4.
Yeah, 6 and then 4. We was actually down with like 2 minutes to go in the last time we played. So, we've been playing pretty close. The teams match up really well this year.
And as the defensive coordinator, Demon Knights, they love to run the football. They love to, get that clock down, keep it out of your offense's hands. So as a defense, how do you prepare for a team that likes to play smash mouth like that in 3 and 4 yards at a time?
Just got to understand their game plan and what they're trying to do. And we just try to counter that. We've been studying a lot of film, and we got a lot of experience playing against them. So hopefully everything meshes up and we'll get the same result that we normally get, and that's to the left side of the column.
All right, Coach, last question. I know David referenced it before, but I know you take a lot of pride in the fact that the Bandits really have come up from the ashes. This was an organization that went winless for a couple seasons in a row, but you guys have really restored order here, brought a championship. What will it mean for this program to win back-to-back championships here in a talent-rich EFA?
It'll mean everything. I think we only did it one time. That was, I think, back in 2001, 2002, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to mess up the history, but it's something like that. So to go back-to-back, in anything in any sport, it's definitely an accomplishment. But right now we're not thinking about the back-to-back. We're just trying to think of just one game at a time. That's it. So we'll focus on this one game.
All right, Coach, pleasure to talk to you. Good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot.
All right, that's Coach Kelman. Cam, we'll throw it back up to you. All right, great words from defensive coordinator Sean Kelman. Got a good sense of what the Bandits want to do and how important it is to win that back-to-back championship here for this very proud Bandits organization. Well, that did it for our pregame interviews. What Cam and I will do is step aside one more time, hear from our sponsors. When we come back, hopefully we will be that much closer to kickoff. Once again, a little bit of a delayed start here as a previous rental at Facina Field went well over their allotted time. So both of these teams are finalizing their warm-ups. Then we'll get our officials on the field, and we'll get this one started. Once again, we're live from Facina. This is pregame here for EFA Championship Bowl 8. Stay with us. You can't have football without barbecue, and there is no barbecue without the Rib Room's Black's Barbecue, official partner of the Elite Football Alliance, serving up rib plates, chicken plates, and combo plates now. To get your official Black's Barbecue order, call 347-837-5762 or Facebook direct message Sean Kelman.
At MassMutual Tri-State, our financial professionals are dedicated to your financial well-being and focused on helping you achieve your financial goals. We provide expertise in crafting strategies that align with your specific needs. We offer industry-leading insurance solutions, financial planning, and wealth management tailored to support your pursuit of a financially secure future. Whether you're planning for retirement, protecting your loved ones, or growing your wealth, we're here to guide you every step of the way. So please call Rich Caruso at 732-623-5700 with any questions and to set an appointment with one of our financial professionals. Thank you. Local firms are sales offices of Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company, MassMutual, Springfield, Massachusetts, and are not subsidiaries of MassMutual or its affiliated companies. Securities and investment advisory services offered through qualified registered representatives of MML Investor Services, LLC. Member SIPC, 732-623-5700.
When only the most trusted law services are needed, then you need Justin Feinman, Esquire, now a proud sponsor of the EFA. Specializing in family, matrimonial, and criminal law, Justin Feinman has been meeting the needs of clients and families for years and with results that matter. Operating out of Garden City, contact attorney Justin Feinman at Justin at jfnylaw.com or call 516-429-9500. Unbeatable Tires and Accessories LLC is your tire for all seasons. Visit us 7 days a week and call us now at 347-879-3100. A tire for all seasons at Unbeatable Tires and Accessories, official partner of the Elite Football Alliance. The EFA is proud to be sponsored by KD's Black Magic Seal Coating. At KD's, we specialize in residential and commercial seal coating, crack filling, pothole repair, parking lot striping, and much more. Our licensed and insured team treats your project with great care and free estimates always. Contact Corey today at 631-562-8865 or email mrkd8985@gmail.com. Attention local businesses and professionals. Isn't it time to elevate your game? Now you can advertise your business or product on PDF Sports Network. Your ad will appear on all of our broadcasts, including this one. Don't have a commercial? We'll make one for you, absolutely free. What better way to showcase your product and brand while supporting the best local sports, teams, and leagues? Call now at 732-723-8189 or visit us at pdfsportsnet.com. Welcome back here to Joseph F. Facina Field in New Rochelle, New York, home of the EFA Championship Bowl 8 right here, where one of these teams, perhaps the Bandits looking for their second EFA championship back-to-back style, or the ESDK Demon Knights looking for their first championship in their team history within the EFA. It's a team that's won plenty of titles, has been to the big show a couple of times. Unfortunately, haven't been able to come all the way through. We've reached that time in the broadcast where we're getting closer to kickoff, Cam. So let's talk about both of some final thoughts for these teams and some of your keys to the game. Let's start with the favorites here in this one, the 8-1 New York Bandits. They're the defending champs. They beat the Empire State Demon Knights twice this season. What do they have to do? What are the boxes that they have to check in order to win this one and come out with their second straight championship?
Yeah, for sure, Dave. The Bandits looking for their back-to-back championship. Ugarte, their quarterback, has to really continue to be their leader. He has run the offense so well, but in this case, with a strong Empire State defense, he's got to use his legs a lot here. He's got to be able to be a playmaker. He's got to do the run-pass option a lot here because the Empire State, their defensive line gets to the quarterback quick, and they do it destructively. Ugarte has to be able to be mobile in this game. He will be a huge part of this game for the Bandits to come off with their second championship in a row. And another thing that they have to do is let the play marinate. Sometimes we see Ugarte or even their rushers try to, just go straight through it. Sometimes I like to see them take a second, let it marinate, and really look for the best available play at the time. And then a huge thing for their defense, they got to get to Caballero. Caballero on the Empire State side he's a tool. He's a very solid player, and he is the main reason why their offense is really good. They got to get to him and get to him quick. For ESDK, Dave, it's all about Caballero in this game. Caballero is a weapon. He has to throw to their receivers very well throughout the game. And really, they have to apply pressure all game, both defensively and offensively. But the main thing, in my opinion, that will really decide the game will be their first possession. They have to score first, Dave. They have to apply the pressure first, and they have to get the Bandits, who are 8-1, on their toes from the start. They don't want to be chasing the whole game like we saw a couple weeks ago when the Empire State was down, but kind of keeping it close. I want them to score first and really have to apply all that pressure to Ugarte and the Bandits, Dave.
All right, good observations. Of course, a lot of that based on the last things that we've seen as well. And when we spoke to Ricardo Caballero during pregame, he did mention they want to run the football, right? That's their hallmark, but they're going to have to air it out at times during this game. They fully realize that the Bandits are going to bring the pressure. They are going to line up, try and get a lot of players in the box, and they're going to have to utilize that passing game. And he knows that there's going to be a lot on his shoulders. And the other thing that we made mention of to both the coaches and David Ugarte as well, Cam, was last time we saw these two teams played, I think the only real difference between the two teams were the fourth down conversions. The Bandits, they made a 4th and goal from the 15. They scored a touchdown. They had a 4th and 18 from the 33. They scored a touchdown. They had a 4th and goal from inside the 5. They scored a touchdown to win the game. The Bandits, the Demon Knights had a couple of 4th downs too deep in the Bandits territory. They could not score on those 4th downs. 4th down is going to be huge in a game like this.
That's a great observation, Dave, because that's, like you said, that's what it was all about last game. Conversions. Tonight, I'd like to see Empire State not have to rely on that, though, as well as the Bandits. I'd like to see them get out early and make the plays that are needed to be played. Because then when you get into that territory of having to convert on a 4th and long or even a 4th and short, it applies that much more pressure, especially in a championship game that is not really needed. But like you said, that will continue to be a factor, and we saw how well the Bandits were at converting on those 4th downs, using the extra down rather than kicking it away or going for a field goal. They are proven to do it. Empire State, we will see.
Yeah, we'll have to see exactly that. We know that the officials are back on the field now, so we think that we're getting closer to kickoff here, and so we should be able to get this one started probably just inside of the 7 o'clock hour. We were supposed to kick off at 6:30, but again, if you've joined us late, there was a rental here on Facina's Field, a soccer game that went into overtime and then went into penalty kick shootouts, and then there was a big celebration on the field as well. So that is the reason why we're delayed here. That was a playoff game. This is a championship game and one for all the marbles. And the other thing that we can note, too, what's different about this game, Cam, from the regular season game between these two teams is that everybody has their full complement tonight. I think the last time we saw these teams play about a month ago, the Demon Knights only came with about 25 of their players. There are guys that are definitely in the lineup tonight that did not play in that game about a month ago. I look at this Bandits sideline, and it is teeming with guys. I mean, there's a lot of personnel here. So, we know these teams are talented. When they bring all their studs, they're even more talented. So we should see both teams' best effort here tonight.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, just looking at the Bandits sideline right now, family, friends, but not just family and friends. Right. They have a lot of guys in pads here. So even if, God forbid it comes down to injuries, the Bandits alike, just like the Empire State Demon Knights, they both have their full personnel here, and we're going to be expecting a dog battle here. Both teams got their guys.
Right, absolutely. So we're going to stay with you here. We're not going to throw it to break. We'll stay with you up until, of course, our kickoff here. We know we are delayed, but we thank you for hanging in with us. And, we got a chance to speak to both sidelines. We got a chance to speak to both, quarterbacks. And so we got a good kind of look at the offensive personnel. We didn't speak to any defensive personnel except, of course, for defensive coordinator Sean Kelman. But the defenses are going to be on display as well in a game like this, Cam. The first game between these two teams was only, 6-0, right, was the final score. The second game, there was a lot more scoring, 36 points total, and a lot of scoring in the second half. That game was 12-0, I believe it was, or 14-0 at half. It was 14-0 at halftime in favor of the Bandits, and that's when the Demon Knights came alive. So, in your opinion, Cam, do you think it's going to be a lot like the first game where it's going to be a kind of a in-the-trenches, low-scoring affair, or do you think we're going to see a lot of what we saw in the second half of the second regular season game and kind of offenses going up and down the field?
Yeah, these two teams know each other so well. Now meeting for the third time this season, and the score totals have only gone up. And, Dave, I'm going to go with it again, especially with the championship on the line here. I want to say it's going to be around the similar score as last game we saw. I think we may even see a couple more scores because I don't think in this game both teams haven't seemingly having their full personnel here. I think there will be less fourth down conversions, allowing for more time on the clock for teams to get down to both field on both sides of the ball. But then again, you never know. Both defenses are really good and offensive alike. But in my opinion, Dave, we're going to see a pretty high-scoring game.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with you. I think these championships have a way of doing that. And if you look at the scores from last week, the 32 points that the Bandits scored last week, that's their highest point total of the season. And I know that we referenced this the last time we covered a game, you and I, Cam. It is very rare in semi-pro football to have a team go 8-1 and play all of its games. I'm not talking about games that are forfeits. Play all of its games and have 32 points be the highest amount of points that they've scored. And before that game, they did not score over 25 points, I believe, in a single game this season. And they're 8-1, folks. So a lot of low-scoring games, but the Bandits broke out, and they scored 32 points last week. That's got to make them feel good coming into this one.
Yeah, and I'll say something. I'll add on to that. That goes to show how good their defense has been all year.
Right.
Being able to win with this is their first time. They're 8-1, and being able to win 8 games while only scoring over 30 points should speak a lot of volume to you people at home. But then again, we look at their schedule here. Their score totals sit around the mid-20s.
Right.
Low to mid-20s. And I'll expect that again tonight. If we take a look back to 9-27 when these two teams last faced each other, 20-16. Regardless of how many points are scored, whether it be low, 1 score or 2 score, it's going to be a very close-knit game, and I think it will result in a 1-score game.
Yeah, I believe you're right. And again, as crazy as it is to believe that 32 points was the highest total they give up, look at the amount of points that the Demon Knights have allowed this season. It is not easy in any league to give up this few amount of points all season long. And again, you get a forfeit loss for the Gravediggers, but that too was a very close game when the lights went out and the Demon Knights were issued a forfeit loss. They were actually winning in that game. But, Cam, a shutout. They give up 6. They give up 6. They give up 6. They give up 8. Then comes that 20-point kind of anomaly, and then they give up 2 in their regular season final, and then they only gave up 6 last week against what we know is a very powerful Patterson Gravediggers offense. So, they've been doing the job on defense, and their offense, you could see, they too have been hovering probably in that low 20 mark. They had a couple of big wins against some of the teams that have been struggling this year, but otherwise, they're in that 2 to 3 score range per game as well.
Yeah, I know we say this, the Empire State Demon Knights are 6-3 and the New York Bandits are 8-1, but really when we break it down like we just did, these teams are way more similar than the standings show here. Like you said, they have only allowed more than 10 points one game, and it came 9-27 versus these very New York Bandits. But then again, these two defenses are powerhouses against any team in the entire league here. So it's just going to be such a fun game, both defenses. But what it's going to come down to, like you mentioned a little bit ago, is those fourth down conversions, because these teams are so good on defense that they push and push and push and get to that fourth down. But it's who's going to come out with that fourth down conversion.
Yep, and here's the game within a game. As we start the coin toss, we'll focus in a little bit closer to see who wins this coin toss and who elects either to defer or to get the ball first here, Cam. And, we referenced that too. Field position was a big part of the regular season games as well. Sometimes it's better to get the ball first, even if you don't score, because you can play the field position game for the rest of the way as well. So there's a lot of different elements to this game that we have to keep in mind as well. And the other thing, too, that we didn't talk about a lot, Cam, from the first game is special teams, as we saw that the Demon Knights won the toss, they deferred, and the Bandits are going to get the ball first. So that's an interesting thing to see here this early. But, Cam, the other thing we didn't talk about a lot during the pregame, special teams, right? Neither team had a kicking game, at least a place kicking game for field goals and extra points last game. And penalties were a big part of the game last time these two teams played. And when we saw teams start 1st and 15, 1st and 20, 2nd and 20, that really spelled doom for both of these teams during that game. And you know that's going to be a source of contention for both of these sidelines here. They want to stay away from penalties, and they want to have a strong game on specials.
Yeah, just exactly like you said. You don't want to have to start your play at your own 10-yard line and start 1st and 15. That's never a good recipe for success. But both teams will look to hone in and clean themselves up on the offensive and defensive penalties here and really just have a clean game, because when it's a clean game, these two teams are really just about as even matched as you can get here. Like you said, Demon Knights won the toss but deferred here, so they will get the ball in the second half to start. Dave, what do you think about that?
You know what? It's interesting. And I always like getting the ball first in the second half, but I do think on this level of football, I think getting the ball first is a real good advantage because, again, you don't see kickoffs going too far down the field. So most of the time, if you're winning the toss and you're getting the ball first, you're usually getting the ball at about the 35, 40-yard line. And if you're setting up from there, you could dictate the field position battle the entire half. And so that's a benefit here. And again, this is a Demon Knights team that usually kicks the ball straight out of bounds. And people say, well, why do you do that? It's because they don't want to give up the big home run, run back. I'm interested to see how they play this right now on the kickoff. And if they elect to just kick it right out, I'm not sure why you would defer and not get the ball first. But we'll see. We'll see how these decisions, of course, rear their heads one way or the other.
Yeah, like you said, only thing I have to say to this, adding on to you, is in my keys to the game, I just would like to see the underdogs here, the Demon Knights, really go at them first and really put in that first punch rather than trying to defend a fight here. Sometimes you got to be the aggressor in this case, but I do like the excitement from the team right away when they won the toss. They were excited to defer the ball, so they are going in with a plan here for sure. Maybe unbeknownst to us a little bit, but they have a plan, and I like to see that they have a foolproof plan that hopefully will work out in their favor.
Yeah, well, we just finished saying, right, they only gave up more than 10 points one game. That means you have a lot of confidence in your defense. Yeah. And, of course, to put them out there on the field first, it does make a little sense, obviously, and that's what they elect to do. And it looks like it will be Thomas Montanero to get us started here in just a moment. The Bandits do put two back deep. On the near side, it'll be Andre Matthews Jr. And we are underway. EFA Championship number 8. It goes out of bounds, does the kickoff. It was fielded out of bounds with 1 foot out, so that counts towards out of bounds. And the Bandits will once again set up in really good field position here to start the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'd like to see these Bandits. I mean, whoever was going to get the ball first, you got to deliver the first punch regardless. But we'll talk about that defense again. They have only allowed more than 10 points one time. Will we see it here again? It's going to be up to the Bandits and David Ugarte, the quarterback for the New York Bandits.
I was going to say Ugarte is a name that we will be saying a lot in this one. They had a two-pronged rushing attack the last time we saw them as well. They'll start here at the 30-yard line, Cam. So they're actually going to mark it where the returner stepped out. So they're going to say he caught it inbounds and stepped out at the 30. So that's a good break here for the Empire State Demon Knights.
Yeah, 100%. I thought he, like you said, when you called it, I thought he caught it out of bounds with 1 foot. But obviously we don't have the best view of that being on this side of the field. But nonetheless, it's going to be up to David Ugarte here and the Bandits offense.
All right, 1st and 10. Bandits will have the ball first at their own 30-yard line, straight away from us here in the booth. And we'll see who gets to start. I think that's Hines at tailback here to start the game. They went with a two-pronged rushing attack, but it's going to be Ugarte out in the flat near the sideline. The catch was made. You're allowed to have 1 foot in, and that's going to be a first down, a pickup of exactly 10 yards on the play. Devontae Taylor making the grab.
Perfect play there to start for Devontae Taylor and David Ugarte. You got to love a 10-yard throw on the first play of the game, really asserting that passing game right from the get-go.
Yep. Definitely the way you want to start for sure. And they'll work it quickly as well. Ball right outside the 40-yard line. 1 play, 1 first down for the Bandits. And this time they'll run it right up the pipe, and the Demon Knights are there to put down the ball carrier for a loss of about 1 or 2 on the play. We'll see if we can get a number on the big fella. He really isn't showing it there, but it looks like Larry Kennard, perhaps, number 26.
I was going to say it's either Hines or Larry Kennard there, but nonetheless.
No, I think it's Hines. Yeah, I think it's Josh Hines.
Yeah, I believe it's Josh Hines. But nonetheless, that is a huge stop there last time. Last game we saw, Hines and their whole running back game was running all over the Demon Knights, but that's a huge stop and a huge loss of yards there for the Demon Knights here on second down.
And they're still going to operate quickly, will the Bandits here. Out of the shotgun, it is Ugarte right in the left side screen pass in the flat and taking it for a first down just past the 50-yard line. Good job of patient running by Jonathan Jenkins, and it's a first down.
And that's what I said in the pregame. That was almost a let-it-marinate play. Nice check-down pass to Jenkins there, and Jenkins read the defense perfectly and got enough for the first down.
Yep, and the Bandits are working so quickly they're not allowing us to go to our replay system all that often. We'll try to get another look at that in between this next play, but right at the 50-yard line stripe. Here they go. They give it to Hines once again, tries to go through the B gap and plows ahead for a gain of about 3. Let's back up to the replay there on that first down catch and run by Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins, a very nice job. You know, a quick pass there from Ugarte, and Jenkins with a couple good jukes there, runs up and gets a nice, good gain for a first down.
Yeah, that was a design screen.
Worked very well for the Bandits.
About a 2-yard gain on second down. It's second down and 8. They'll go for the home run down the sideline, and a good pass breakup right at the last second that time by the defensive back there on the far side of the field. We'll get another look at it here, but that'll bring up third down and relatively long.
And now Ugarte, had a lot of pressure on about 3 guys on the defensive side coming in after him. But looks like it was possibly a free play there for Ugarte as the referees just signaled penalty on the Demon Knights. So maybe Ugarte knew a little bit of offsides, I believe, but very good coverage nonetheless there from the Demon Knights. Obviously now is a free play, but unbeknownst to us, but Demon Knights, that was very good coverage there.
Yeah, so they'll move the ball up enough for a first down. So they get the benefits there of the play call that gets them the first. And the Bandits are moving the ball here. That ball spotted right at the 40-yard line now. The previous spot was at about the 48, 47. So it's interesting how this ball only got put up about 7 yards because remember the first down run. Yeah, they're going to move it up another couple of yards here. That was a 10-yard penalty on the Demon Knights. And so the ball will be placed inside the 40 now at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, a huge break for the Bandits there, and they're going to try to cash in here.
And they give it to Hines, but the play is whistled dead for a penalty, and now it'll be a false start on the Bandits, so that'll back them up 5.
So here's these penalties early for both teams so far, both getting into the mix with these penalties. Hopefully both teams will look to minimize those as we get throughout the rest of the game.
So 1st and 10 becomes 1st and 15 on the first penalty against the Bandits here and the first disruption to this drive so far and their first negative play. Hines continues to be the ball carrier from the backfield. He gets it on the delay up to about a yard, maybe at that. But the Demon Knights are doing a good job on the interior here, Cam.
Yeah, Hines will continue to get this ball throughout basically the rest of the game. He's such a big guy, and he just barrels himself through the defensive line and usually picks up a couple yards, which is good for Ugarte and his receivers here.
Yep, they'll get right back to it. Same formation, but you could see the physicalness of the Demon Knights up front. Play action. They go deep this time, and Jenkins is there to make the catch. And he falls into the end zone for the touchdown. A beautiful ball thrown by Ugarte, and it met Jenkins in stride. Touchdown, Bandits.
Wow, Ugarte and the Bandits go deep, looking to cash in on a huge play on their first drive, and it's Jenkins who makes his second good catch of this game so far, this from resulting in a touchdown. Just a beautiful play there, Dave. You cannot ask for more on the first drive for David Ugarte, Jenkins, and the whole New York Bandits offensive side. Let's take a look here. Ugarte steps back into the pocket, fake there to Hines, and just releases it for about 30 yards right into the hands of Jenkins, in for the touchdown. It'll be 6-0 New York Bandits so far.
Yeah, it was not the worst coverage either by Justin Stewart, but Jenkins had a step and utilized it. 2-point conversion upcoming, as we would expect to see throughout the game here from both of these teams. And it's going to be thrown in the flat, and having enough of the edge was Jabril Cummings, making the catch and getting it in for the 2 points. And the Bandits complete what was a perfect drive and are now up 8-0.
You cannot ask more for the first drive of a game here. And this is when you bring it into question. Sometimes this is why you don't really want to defer the first play when you win the coin toss. And the Bandits did exactly what they needed to do. They lost the toss, but they threw the first punch for sure. Now we're going to have to see the Demon Knights respond here heavy and really have to do the same thing and minimize the penalties. Minimize the penalties all game long. They got to score here.
Yeah, and, we talked about whether this is going to be an offensive game, whether this is going to be a defensive game. And right now, anyway, it looks like the Bandits have come to play some serious offense. They took that drive 70 yards in about 6 or 7 plays. And, they went with the pass first. Then they used a little bit of play action on that play. And they went to the deep ball twice. They're 1 for 2 on it. And what do you know? 8 points on the board for the Bandits. And again, it makes you question that call, winning the coin toss and electing to kick. You elect to kick off, and now you have to play from behind. And that's something that this Demon Knights team really did not want to do here tonight.
Yeah, and like you said, though, the New York Bandits are just about perfect on offense there, but the Demon Knights defense was not bad at all there.
Short kick. It ends up at the up man at about the 31-yard line. And I thought that was Bragaglia. It is Bragaglia wearing 0. There are 2 zeros, a 00 and a 0 here for the Demon Knights. So Kevin Bragaglia gets the Demon Knights started in really good field position at the Bandits' 47-yard line. And, one thing that we could say, Cam, was that when we saw these two teams battle it out in the regular season, the second meeting, the Demon Knights did a really, really good job, just like the Bandits just did, of going down the field and being very methodical with their run game. When they had to utilize some of the passing game as well, they were able to get the yards. It was more about that final play. Let's see, as Tyshawn Lopez goes back off to the bench here. So that's interesting to see as they'll line up at tailback to start the game. Taz Smith is in the backfield with Caballero. And now we're going to have flags come out as a whole bunch of shouting came up from the Bandit side, and it's going to be a false start on the Demon Knights. And that is not how you want to start your first offensive play of the game.
Yeah, I was just talking about it. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot this early on in a game, or really at all in the game. But first play on the first drive, you're already backed up 5 yards. They got to respond quickly and really have to look to minimize that throughout the rest of the game here.
Tight spread formation here. The give is going to be up the middle to Smith. Smith tries to go around the pack, does find the seam and the edge, and is able to scamper forward for a hard gain of about 8 yards on the play. It'll set up a 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, very good job there from Taz Smith using the stiff arm there to get a couple more yards there, and it worked out, and they get their yards back from the penalty.
Yep, we expect to see the ground and pound game. And again, if they're ripping off 7 and 8 yard runs, they are doing what they want to do. And that's Demon Knights football right there.
And being able to run those 7 to 8 yards each time, then you can create holes for your receivers deeper in the slots and deeper in the backyard of the field.
Get back to live action here. 2nd down and 7 after the 1st and 15 start. Same formation. Smith continues to be the man in the backfield. Long play count. Caballero is going to bootleg, at least fake that way. His pass was tipped at the line of scrimmage. I believe that was big number 53, David Byrne, who got his fingertips on it, and so that'll bring up a 3rd down and long.
Yeah, let's just be happy that wasn't an interception. This would not be a good first drive for Caballero and the Demon Knights had that been an interception. But let's all say in unison, a nice little whew as the Demon Knights look to continue to get this first down here. Make this drive a long one and look for perfection just like the Bandits did here. They got to match up here well, and they got to get their offensive line has to give Caballero some time to throw the ball to his receivers.
3rd down and 7. Instead, they'll get the scamper with Lopez, and Lopez gets clipped up or tripped up low, and he's only able to get about a yard or two on the play, and so that'll bring up, like we mentioned, a big 4th down here early. It's going to be 4th and a short 6, long 5 coming up, and a first big play of the game for both teams.
Yeah, this is our first view at a 4th down for both teams, and it's going to be up to the Demon Knights who struggled with it last time playing the Bandits. But if they could get this 4th down here, Dave, we are seeing a new team completely.
Yeah, absolutely. And again,
and a new drive as well.
Right. And remember how the drive started, 1st and 15, and now they're about 5 yards away from the first down. Oh, we got some movement. This could be a free play the other way, but I think they made contact at the line. I think the near judge is going to call this on the Demon Knights.
I didn't see any movement on the Demon Knights. I wasn't really looking on their side, but definitely I saw some movement from the Bandits. But the referees did go with it on the Demon Knights. So the Demon Knights, 2 penalties on this drive, now really starting to hinder their ability here, and this will make it now an even longer 4th down possibly, but the referees are coming together to talk about it, I believe.
Well, we're getting another look at it in super slow down motion, and we'll see. Oh, yeah, I saw a little flinch from the left guard. Or maybe even it was, the cock of the head from Caballero. Let's back that up just one little bit. Take a look at the inflection by Caballero there, and if he kind of that little hard count, I don't know. It's tough. You could go either way on it.
I was going to say, it's sometimes if that's a part of his count and he does it every time, it's hard to call that early in the game if that's how he does his hard count. But obviously it looked like the head nod from Caballero got the defense to jump, so I believe that's what the referees ended up calling.
2 penalties for 10 yards on this series here for the Demon Knights. It could cost them. This is a 4th down and 10 coming up. And he is going to punt, and it's a good one. Caballero gets that one down at about the 5-yard line. It was touched by the Bandits at the 5, and it's going to be taken out to about the 15-yard line. So I think the Bandits, sensing that ball was going to die right inside the 5, it was Andre Matthews Jr. who decided to play it up. Gets it to about the 18-yard line, but the Demon Knights punting there on 4th down.
Yeah, Matthews, good grab there. He corralled the ball there and almost got away from his fingertips, but a good grab and a good game from what would have been on about their 5-yard line, and he got it out to nearly, I believe, the 18, I want to say. Is that where they're marking it at?
Yeah.
About the 18.
Yeah. It's just shy of the 20-yard line, but the Demon Knights, at the very least, they were able to switch the field position and start the Bandits in their worst starting field. They started their first drive at the 30 and start this one at the 18.
Yeah, I like the Demon Knights electing the punt there. Mm-hmm. I think it was not a good first drive, and you don't want to make a worse first drive even worse. So sometimes you got to cut your losses when it's your losses and restart and get a good stop here and get the ball back.
Yeah, the bottom line is if you want to win this game, you're going to have to get stops. Yeah. So it starts right now, down 8-0. As coming in motion is Cummings, but it is going to be a quarterback keeper with Ugarte. He's going to try and get the edge, and does, and works his way up to about the 30-yard line. Another first down here for the Bandits.
Yeah, good. They had a couple guys in motion there, but Ugarte ended up taking the ball and got about 12 yards on the rush there, right up the middle, and he found his way through some holes there, and Ugarte has been using his legs like I called out in the beginning of the game. The keys to win, Ugarte using that run-pass option all game because he's got some good legs here.
And it looks like we might have a timeout here. Did you catch who might have called the timeout?
I think it was the Demon Knights.
All right, so we're going to issue a timeout against the Demon Knights here. And, the Demon Knights, they have done well against, Josh Hines in the backfield when he's run the football. He's had 2 or 3 carries for very minimal yards, but they've been able to use that for play action. And, of course, now they get them on the Ugarte keeper up the middle. So sometimes you're sending all those hats to one guy, Cam. It allows somebody else to, get strung out, and that's exactly what the Bandits were able to do that time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they continue to utilize Hines here, who's been almost shut down for the whole game so far. But I think they might stray off of him a little bit for now and then look to bring him back a little later on in this game. Try to feel out how the rest of the defense looks for the Demon Knights and how they're covering, not only the run-pass option, but also just strictly passing.
Yep.
As we saw Jenkins get wide open earlier for a touchdown. I wouldn't say wide open. It was good coverage, but Jenkins did get a couple yards away from a defender.
We see Devontae Taylor in the backfield now. He's the fullback behind Ugarte, and we're going to have some movement. And again, another flag will whistle a play dead here, as we'll have to see who's guilty. It will be against the Bandits for a false start. So now they will start 1st and 15.
Yeah, another hard play. A couple offsides so far to start this game early on, and both teams making it a little harder on their offenses so far. But leave it to Ugarte and the Bandits to really show their true strengths here and defeat not defeat themselves, but defeat the Demon Knights.
Yeah, they've been able to climb out of some of these holes in the past, but how often can you start drives 1st and 15, 1st and 20, and crawl out? That's what the Bandits are going to try and do here. From their own 25, the fake down low and play action pass to the flat. Good room at about the 30 and getting held up, and Gang tackled that time, where the Bandits, after a gain of about 7 yards, will fix them up with a 2nd down and 8 here, as making the grab was, I think that was number 18. It's just really hard to see these Bandits jerseys. They're tucked so far in.
Yeah, it's either number 18 or number 16.
It's Ray Toledo. It's Ray Toledo for sure. So 2nd down and 8 coming up.
It's going to be a free play here.
It's going to be a free play. Ugarte is going to run it. Stutter step at the 35, gains the 40, 45, 50, and now is off to the races. Gains the sideline and is punched out at about the 35-yard line by the last line of defense, Ricardo Caballero. Now, there is a flag down, but we think it was a free play. Indeed, it was. It'll be declined. 1st and 10 Bandits in Demon Knights territory.
Yeah, the Demon Knights, a couple of them jumped off sides pretty early on, and I thought they were going to maybe blow it dead. They've been blowing a lot of these offsides dead so far. A couple of the defensive linemen actually stopped on the left side of their defensive line. But in the end, Ugarte got free. It got up to about the Demon Knights 34, I want to say.
Yeah, we got another chance to see it there on the replay, and just a great job by Ugarte to recognize the free play, recognize all the space that he had, and turned it into a huge play. Ugarte, left-handed, middle of the field, wide open, and running it in for the touchdown is Cummings. Now, he's listed as a DB. I don't know if that's Jabril Cummings or not, but...
Well, if it is Cummings, I think we got to change his roster position to wide receiver, because he broke free from any defender within a 10-foot radius.
There was nobody near him.
He was wide open for Ugarte to make an easy pass, possibly his easiest pass of the night, going in for 6. We'll say it's Cummings.
We're going to have to. I know Errol James wore that number last year, and he's a magnificent wide receiver, but not sure if he rejoined the team late or whatnot, but that's another 6 points, and the Bandits here are cutting up this ESDK team. It's now 14-0, and we're still in the first quarter. And remember, this is a Demon Knights team that has only given up over 10 points one other time this year, and it was on this field. Ugarte in the flat, wide open, and Toledo makes the grab. It was not. It was David Cruz, the backup quarterback, playing wide out on that play. 2 points for the Bandits. It's 16-0.
Yeah, David Cruz, just like Cummings, was wide open. Couple defensive blows from the Demon Knights here. Going to have to look to figure that out a little bit more as this game continues. But nonetheless, the Bandits have been running rampant on the offensive side here, 16-0. And I believe, is this after are we end of the first here?
Perhaps, I'm watching Cruz on that play the entire way, and they just never picked him up. He was just left, did a 3-and-out, and that was the easiest 2 points you're ever going to see. And yes, that is the end of the first quarter. Yeah,
we do not have a running clock out here at Fosfina Field. But we will continue to update you guys throughout the rest of the game. 16-0 after the first quarter. The New York Bandits are up over the Demon Knights. The Demon Knights are going to have to hone in on the defensive side. You know, the Bandits are doing a very good job at finding the holes on the Demon Knights defense. But what we need here now is that the Demon Knights get the ball here. They need to score, and they need to score fast. Get the ball back and make stops. You said it earlier before the Bandits' last drive there. You got to make a stop to win the game.
Well, you just don't have a lot of time in a championship game to start figuring things out, Cam. And when the Bandits have come out, you know, this much on fire and being able to kind of move the ball at will, that's a real ugly sight if you're a Demon Knights fan here. Short kick, it ends up at about the 20-yard line. It will be Bragaglia. Bragaglia turns and cuts inside at about the 30 and slides to about the 40-yard line, as now we're going to have a flag on the opposite side of the field as two guys got into it.
Yeah, I don't think it was on the Bandits there. I think it was on the Bandits, but I didn't get a good look. Yeah, it looks like it'll be on the Bandits here. Penalty on the Bandits. Yeah, penalty on the Bandits.
Yep. So we are going to go with number 7 being Jabril Cummings, even though he's listed as a DB. That's who we got on our roster. And we asked the great Coach Dave Patterson from Way Too Early with Pat on the PDF Sports Network. And, of course, the Three Bleezies 2.0 Facebook page. You can catch Way Too Early with Coach Pat every Sunday morning live on the Three Bleezies Facebook page. And, of course, on demand on the PDF Sports Network as we pick up that feed. But Dave is a wealth of information. I just asked him, who's number 7 on the Bandits? And he's like, it's not Errol James, because Errol James, of course, was for the Brooklyn Seminoles this past year. But he wore number 7 last year for this Bandits team, and terrific wideout. But after the penalty, we are on the Bandits side of the field. First down and 10. It's the second straight drive the Demon Knights have started on this side of the field, and a nice play by Bragaglia on the far side. He's close to the first down marker. It looks like he has it after spinning and twisting for an extra couple of yards.
Yeah, nice little throw there from Ricardo Caballero right over to Bragaglia, who fights his way for a first down for the Demon Knights.
Yeah, and, you know, we knew that the Demon Knights were going to have to throw the ball in this game, even though they love to run it down your throat, as we get to appreciate the play by Bragaglia on the far side of the field. Demon Knights want to work a little hurry up here, so we'll get you back to live action. First and 10 for the Demon Knights, deeper inside of Bandits territory. Caballero once again goes back to pass near the near sideline. The catch is made, and making moves is L.A. Richards, and that'll be good enough to move the sticks again for a first down.
Yeah, like you said, the Demon Knights love to run. That is probably their key to their offense. But being down 16-0 on the back end on the near end of halftime, you got to start throwing the ball, and you got to score first. You got to continue to kill the momentum of the Bandits and really hammer in that punch as quick as you can.
Once again, Demon Knights want to go quickly, so we'll get you back here. This ball spotted at the 15-yard line, first down and 10. Demon Knights moving it. Caballero once again back to pass. Middle of the field, catch is made right around the first down marker at about the 5-yard line. Bragaglia makes the play. Will it be enough to move the sticks? Yes, it will. It'll be first and goal coming up.
Bragaglia having a great night so far. A couple good returns so far, and now a couple really nice catches and throws by Caballero, who has done a fantastic job so far in this drive.
You don't see this happen often. Demon Knights have not run the football yet on this drive. They work it out in the flat, and in the slot, they move it in for the score. How about that for a response from the Demon Knights? I think that was L.A. Richards again. We'll have to catch it on the replay.
Regardless, like you said, a huge shot back right into the Bandits' face. They needed that, a quick, perfect drive to get right back into this game. Now we're looking at a 6-16 score here, possibly an 8-16 score, making it a one-score game here.
No, it was Tyler Sawicki, and the first time we've seen him make a grab here in this series. But Sawicki was one of those players who was not available in the regular season game that we saw here at Facina. And the Demon Knights get him back for this game, and how about that for a response? And what stands out to me is we're going to have a timeout called here by the Bandits. And what stands out to me, Cam, two things. Number one, the Demon Knights did not run the football on that drive. And number two, they did not commit a penalty. And, you know, when we are seeing them stay on schedule and moving the ball and not hurting themselves, again, this is a team that has proven that it can move the ball against the Bandits.
Yeah, and we said it a little bit earlier as well. They get the ball down the field no matter what, for the most part. It's now they got to cash in, and this drive was their best drive that I've seen from them all year. Near perfection. They didn't commit any penalties there. They didn't shoot themselves in the foot, and they cashed in right away. I'd love to see them come back even harder and get the 2-point conversion here, making it a one-score game. But nonetheless, Caballero looked great there. Bragaglia continuing to dominate for this Demon Knights offense. Just a great job here. And like you said, they didn't run the ball there, which is their game, and that's their scheme. But maybe that's what they're going to have to do to get away from these Bandits who know their offense scheme so well. If we know that their offensive scheme is running the ball, I'm sure the Bandits do as well. And in that case, that's why Empire State elected to throw the ball there well, and they did it really well.
Absolutely. Will they continue to go to the pass here on the 2-point conversion? Caballero under center, and he is going to throw. A lot of pressure on him. He throws it up towards the sidelines. We should see some flags there, and we do. That was a blatant pass interference. Yeah. I had the binoculars going for that play, but we'll get to show it to you here in just a moment or two.
Yeah, I threw my own flag in here, Dave. I saw a couple flags, I think, possibly even some holding on that same pass interference. But nonetheless, that's definitely a pass interference, and the Demon Knights will get to run it back again here.
And it's obviously a huge 2 points. But see the jersey tug right there. And that time, knowing he was beaten, number 29 on the Bandits, pulls a little bit of jersey. But now with half the distance to go,
they may elect to run it.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity for the Demon Knights to run the football. We'll see if they do. And again, a big 2-point conversion because the Bandits are 2 for 2 in that department. So if the Demon Knights want to keep this potentially just a one-score game, they need to score here.
It'll be a huge score, too. It'll be electing to punch the Bandits right back in the face, just as they got punched in the face.
It's Taz Smith behind Caballero, and then once again, there is movement. The Demon Knights wanted to run the play anyway. They won't get to, as that was a keeper the entire way, but they are going to reset it, maybe now from the 1-foot line, and because it was against the Bandits, as we expected, and ESDK will get another chance to do it again.
Yeah, it looks like that ball is nearly in the end zone, so I'm assuming they'll elect to run it here, possibly even a QB sneak there from Caballero. But nonetheless, be a huge 2-point conversion for ESDK.
Yeah, Smith is behind Caballero. It's L.A. Richards, the lone wide receiver on the near side. And it's going to be a keeper up the middle. Do we have an official signal now? Yes, we do. 2 points for ESDK. And they clap right back on the Bandits and make it our scoreboard is getting wacky. Make it a 16-8 game. Twice it went to 10 points when we wanted it to go to 8, but
maybe we're going to see a safety here, Dave.
Well, the Demon Knights are like, you could keep it there. That's fine. But no, 16-8. So I'll tell you what, that is as good a response as we have seen this Demon Knights put together in any game that we've ever seen them ever. That was a tremendous drive. And now the Bandits, still with the lead, still 2 for 2 on their offensive drives, now get a chance to have to, respond to something that the Demon Knights have done. That's the first time they're now going to have to do that. And now if you're the Demon Knights, do you have enough confidence now? And is your defense finally settled down to a point where they can actually start catching up to the Bandits in this game?
Yeah, that drive there from the Demon Knights was very similar to the Bandits' first drive of the night. Both drives there absolutely perfect, and that's what the Demon Knights needed to do. They needed to not dig themselves in a hole that was too far down, and they did just that, and they dug themselves right back out, being a one-score game here. Now it's going to be up to the defense. The defense has to create a big and fast stop here so they have another chance to get the ball back here before the end of the first half. Because even bigger in this case, ESDK, with deferring on the coin toss, they get the ball to start the second half as well. If they can tie this game up before the end of halftime, they're going to be in some good business here, Dave.
Absolutely. Matthews is back deep with Jonathan Jenkins. And the kick is going to be straight out of bounds. And again, we are used to seeing this from the Demon Knights. They do not want to give up a big play on special teams. They tell you, here's the ball, you just take it at the 40, and we'll just march our defense out there and play.
Yeah, I like to see that they continue to stick to their plan. They don't let things get too big or too small for them. They have a plan going into the game, and they adjust if needed. But definitely with the kicking game, it is pretty similar, and they kick it out of bounds just about every time. So they don't want to see an Auburn kick 6 and get it back into their own end zone here. That would not bode well.
Not at all, but the Bandits are 2 for 2 on offensive drives so far tonight. As we welcome you into coverage of EFA Championship Bowl 8. This game did get started late, so in case you've joined us late, we got started at about 7 p.m. We were supposed to start at 6:30. There was a rental on the field that went into overtime, and so the boys were allowed to take the field at about 6:30, and we got off at 7. The give underneath to Hines. Hines is able to get the edge, and he is running downhill at about the 50-yard line and is finally taken out of bounds and wrestled down by Justin Stewart, but not before he rumbles for a 15-yard gain.
And there goes that man Hines. We didn't see Hines in the Bandits' last drive all too much. They gave him a little bit of a break as the Demon Knights were picking him up well, but there goes Hines, and that's the Hines we know, burying himself through the defensive ends, just finding himself a first down there. Absolutely incredible job.
Yep, not the kind of guy you want to see running downhill either, and he was able to get the edge. You could see it right there. The line doing a good job to hold on the edge, and he does the rest.
Yeah, even number 44, Jonathan Paez-Lopez, did a good job following up off the line for Hines.
Hines again plows to about the 45-yard line, gets a yard, maybe 2. We're going to give him 1 yard on that play. But it's one thing I've noticed, the Demon Knights have done a good job with the interior of that defensive line. They're not really giving anything up in the A or in the A gap there on the run plays, but the Bandits have had a lot more success on the edge. We'll see if they continue that way, but they've really utilized the run to set up the big pass, and if we didn't know any better, you'd expect to see play action here.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be up to Ugarte, Jenkins, and Hines all game. That we're going to see a lot of them all game. We're going to be talking about them.
Absolutely. David Pizzuto alongside Cam Williams here. We are covering this one live from Joseph F. Facina Field. Cummings in motion. The Demon Knights getting a good blitz on, but gaining the edge is Ugarte. Ugarte gets stiffened up by Lopez at about the 42-yard line. And now a very late flag that came out in the secondary. This was well after the play.
So I think it might be on Raymond Toledo or David Fisher. I couldn't see the number. Like you said, these Bandits numbers a little hard to see on the field, but it looks like a Bandits player is receiving a flag late there.
It was 2 guys that were still locked up after the play. They were a good 15 yards behind the play at about the Demon Knights' 25-yard line. Now, the result of the play was a 2-yard gain. So, if nothing happens here or if we have offsetting penalties after the play, we're looking at about a 3rd down and 6 coming up. And now we're going to get the official signals. Dead ball, personal foul against the Bandits. Oof. And for now, that's the only one. So they're going to back them up 15 yards, I believe, from the end of the play, which would make it a 3rd down and about 21 coming up. We'll see what it is officially.
Yeah, and that's a big break there for the Demon Knights. That's a kind of a stop you need almost.
Yeah.
That really helps them out there in their case. I saw the Demon Knights player in the backfield who was involved in that little bit of a scuffle celebrate pretty bigly and for good reason.
3rd down and 21. Well, now they're making it 2nd down. So they're saying that, we're going to have to see. If that happened at the end of the play, should be 3rd. Yeah, but right now on the field anyway, 2nd and 21. A lot of pressure. Middle of the field, catch was made, and it gets the yardage back for sure that was lost on the penalty. And now we're going to have a 3rd down and about 6 coming up. That was a gain of 15.
Yeah, we have a Demon Knights player down right about where Ugarte threw the ball. Winston Payne looks to be holding his knee. I can't get a read on the player. It is number 20 for the Demon Knights. That'll be Deshaun Harris is down on the field.
Well, our colleague Joe Foreman likes to say, you know how good of a quarterback you have when you see what he can do under pressure. And David Ugarte does a great job here under pressure. Look at the blitz coming in on the Demon Knights. They send in 6 guys, and Ugarte cool as a cucumber, does have to backpedal a little bit, but he gets a really nice play and a really nice throw into number 28, who we do not have on our roster, unfortunately, but it'll set up a 3rd down and 6 yards to go.
Yeah, that's the type of play they needed. They had to get that yardage back little by little to find themselves with 2 downs to get a first down here and really make up for that personal foul that cost them 15 yards. It still looks like Deshaun Harris is down for the Demon Knights. Trainers and coaches and players alike trying to help him off this field as he's being held up and slowly walking off the field. Hopefully nothing too serious here. He can find himself back into the game after the first half.
Yeah, you really hate to see it. Obviously, any time a player has to leave the game due to injury and, of course, not under his own power, that's a tough break for him.
Yeah, and he was one of the defensive guys really creating that pressure on Ugarte, who found himself, I believe, slipping and falling trying to go after Ugarte.
And looks like there's going to be a penalty assessed at the end of that play as well, Cam. So we're going to have a first down as a result of all this. Now you see a little bit of a meeting here as we have the camera on the head official. But this ball's going to be spotted at the 26-yard line. So that was about 15 yards further than the last play. And so we're going to have an automatic first down here for the Bandits. So you go from having a 2nd down and 21 to being able to convert, and the drive continues. Ooh, a lot of movement here. They're going to whistle this one dead. They continue to play, and a late hit by Taz Smith. You got to listen for the whistle, and Smith just continued with the play because Ugarte did, and that leads to flags everywhere.
Yeah, things are getting a little chippy here. There's a lot of whistles going on. Ugarte, I guess maybe he didn't hear the whistle as well, but still on the defensive side, when you see everybody stop and you hear the whistles, you got to stop, and more flags are flying.
And even more as guys got involved, and Taz Smith has to be careful because if he just picked up 2 personals, Cam, he might be tossed out of the game.
Yeah, and that would be a huge loss for the Demon Knights. Taz Smith has been involved in this game on the defensive and offensive side very, very a lot so far. That would be a huge loss.
Certainly would.
You know, last time we were here, somebody on the Bandits did get ejected from the game.
Yes,
so we might see another one. These two teams, very chippy, rival teams who like to go after each other. And sometimes you see quotes, these guys like to go out and beat each other up legally. So that's what we see sometimes. And, you know, it gets to that point where sometimes you have to find the leadership from your guys on a team to calm everyone down and really hone yourselves in, because you don't want guys getting ejected and really costing your team with these personal fouls that end up getting you down the field. Like in this case, it cost the Bandits to start this drive, but then the Demon Knights did it themselves and gave it right back. So you got to weigh it out. You got to minimize the chippy talk and really keep yourself to your own team.
Yeah, and all this happened as a result of a dead ball without the play happening. And if this is going to end up being a half the distance call, it's going to be an automatic first down, and the ball's going to be spotted at about the 13-yard line, and that is exactly what's going to happen. Actually, it's going to be spotted inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. So how about this?
A lot of free yardage for the Bandits here. Getting very lucky with a couple, just mental miscues in arguing with referees and getting a little too chippy and a little too physical when they're not supposed to in this game. It's going to cost the Demon Knights here. They're going to have to try to pull out a rabbit out of their hat here, per se, and try to not let the Bandits score here as the first half is winding down.
Yep. Ugarte out of the shotgun. Demon Knights show run blitz. They bring it, but Hines is barreled down at about the 6-yard line. Stop was made that time by number 56, Jason Pickens, who had a big game the last time these two teams played, but it'll be 2nd and goal, 3 yards closer to the end zone.
Yeah, and that's what Hines does best, runs right up the gut and barrels himself in for about 5 yards.
Yeah, and, right here at this area of the field, the 5-yard line, the 6-yard line, you have an arsenal of play calls to use. You can continue to run the football. You have the utilization of your wideouts. You got Ugarte who could run the football. as we've seen him do a lot in this area of the field inside the 10. He's prone to just, tuck it down and get those hard yards as well. He's a big guy to bring down as well. That is not a slender quarterback by any means. He's got a lot of power.
Big guy and very swift,
right,
too.
And when he drops that shoulder, he's coming in hot. So here we go, 2nd down and goal from the 6. Demon Knights bring pressure, and it's enough for Caballero to bring down Ugarte well behind the line of scrimmage for a big 6-yard loss.
And Caballero doing it all so far in this game. He's got a nice touchdown pass, got a couple completions on the offensive side, and now getting a huge sack on David Ugarte, resulting in I want to say maybe 7 yards lost, but maybe not that much.
5 yards, yeah. But if you didn't know any better, that was a designed run for Ugarte, just like we suspected might happen.
And Caballero picked it up to near perfection.
Absolutely. Did not get fooled at all. 3rd down and goal. Big play here. From just outside the 10. There's the pass in the flat to Jenkins. Jenkins has 2 Demon Knights on him, and he's going nowhere fast. Might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, but that's it. In fact, they're going to mark him down at the 12, so exactly no game. And does this look familiar, Cam? 4th down and goal from outside the 10-yard line for the Bandits. In these positions, about a month ago, they were perfect. They made a 4th and goal from the 15. They made a 4th and 18 from the 33. And they made a 4th and goal count from inside the 10.
Yeah, Ugarte is no stranger to the 4th down conversion for a passing touchdown here. We're going to see, looks like Hines is going to line up next to him, but he's going to be essentially an extra blocker here to give Ugarte enough time to these receivers into the end zone.
But single coverage on the edges, but Ugarte is going to run it himself and gets taken down from behind. And
looks like his knee was down there. I do not think they get the first down.
Right, and there are no flags, and the Demon Knights will take over. Huge play for ESDK defensively.
A little bit of magic there from ESDK. A couple huge tackles there. Caballero heading that with the sack on Ugarte. They find themselves out of trouble's paradise there, making a stop there and not allowing the Bandits to convert on 4th down, something that they did very successfully just about a month ago.
Absolutely, and you could see Ugarte looking down the field, but was unable to shed the tackler from behind. And the Demon Knights needed a stop, and they got one. And that's something that didn't happen the last time these two teams played on 4th down. That's the first time the Demon Knights have really come up and stopped them. And now you got a Demon Knights offense, which rolled down the field on their last drive. Can they get the equalizing touchdown here? They have to start deep in their own end. Officially at the 14-yard line. That play went for -2 on 4th down. Caballero from the flank found Sawicki for minimal gain, about a yard.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one here as the first half is winding down, but it's no stranger to ESDK. They find themselves getting the ball down the field very quick and very efficiently, but it's all about converting. They're going to have to do it quick.
Yeah, and what I'm shocked at, considering how well he ran the football the last time these two teams played, Ty Lopez has not had a carry yet in this game. Now, he is in the backfield for the Demon Knights. Remember, Taz Smith started at tailback for ESDK. But the Demon Knights have not run the ball in quite a while.
Yeah.
2nd down and 9, and Caballero's going back to pass again. Good pocket, middle of the field, and that one was a little bit behind the intended receiver that time. Looked like it might have been Brigagli in the middle of the field or L.A. Richards. We'll get a number for you in just a moment. It's number 10.
That'll be
Trey Thompson, yeah. So it'll be 3rd down and 9.
You're going to want to see them get this 3rd down here. You don't want to bring it to 4th down because if it gets to 4th down and they're within 10 yards, they're going to have to punt the ball away and still give the Bandits good field position here to score before this first half runs out.
Yeah, and that's one that Caballero would have liked to have had back. It was, it was in the middle of play there, but Thompson had to reach back behind him to make it. But that's a pretty decent pocket for Caballero to work under. 3rd down and 9. Big play here. Bandits coming in with a lot of pressure. They go for the home run down the sideline, and it's too far extended for the wideout Bragaglia on the far side of the field, broken up nicely by the Bandits, and that'll force a punt here for the Demon Knights.
Yeah, not a bad throw there from Caballero, just out of reach of the receiver. Really good drawn-up play there, but just game of inches. That's what it comes down to sometimes in football, and it'll be interesting to see what they do here. I'd imagine they're punting. They punted once so far in this game. I think they got a punt here again. The Bandits will still get pretty decent field position here if they do punt, but you don't really want to give the Bandits an opportunity on the Demon Knights' own about 15-yard line.
Yeah, this will undoubtedly be a punt here, but I think the big question is, how do you decide to punt this if you're Caballero? Do you just punt it completely out of bounds? Do you trust your coverage down the field? The Bandits look like they're going to bring some pressure here right up the gut on this punt attempt. They do. Caballero gets off a good one, but it is not allowed to hit turf, and swung on but missed for the tackle, and now getting a lot of room down the field and inside the 30-yard line was Andre Matthews Jr. He's been pretty electric with these returns, and a net of only about 15, 20 yards here as the Bandits are going to set up inside the Demon Knights 30.
Yeah, it almost was a huge tackle there from L.A. Richards, who got his arm around, I believe that's Andre Matthews Jr. there, who almost got him down about at the 40-42 there, which would have been a nice stop there for the Demon Knights. But nonetheless, the Bandits get the ball back on their on the Demon Knights 28-yard line here. After just giving it up on the 10-yard line, they now receive it back on the 28-yard line here as the first half winds down.
Yes, indeed.
They're going to look for a much better drive than the last one and try to really cash it in here and hammer it in on ESDK.
So they start at the 28-yard line of the Demon Knights. Very short field here for the Bandits to operate on. Demon Knights came up big defensively on the last drive. Can they come up big here? Middle of the field, and nearly sawed in half that time was Christopher Fabian on a big hit that time in the middle of the field.
Yeah, Caballero's running wild on both sides of the field tonight, having a good, solid game there. I believe you said Fabian is a little knocked up there, feeling a little bit injured. Took a big hit there from Caballero.
Yeah, you got to shake some cobwebs after that big hit, but he timed it perfectly. Yeah. That's just a well-timed hit.
Yeah, and had he caught that ball, we might have seen a little bit of a fumble there.
Yeah.
Or at least a missed catch. It depends on how many feet he gets down and takes a gather step, but nonetheless, that's a very solid hit there from Caballero.
All right, 2nd down and 10 from the 28-yard line. Again, they come in with a little bit of pressure. They work it out in the flat. That time to Cummings. Cummings has the first down and more, as once again he's able to make that first wave miss. The Demon Knights are tugging for that football, and it finally comes out, but about 5 seconds after the whistles blew, first down.
Yeah, it's a good job there from Ugarte. Kind of fumbled the snap a little bit as he got the reception from his center, but then made a nice job over to number 7, Jabril Cummings, who made a nice gain there, about 12, 13 yards there for a first down.
First down. He does have a touchdown in today's game as well. And the Bandits have it right from about where they gave it up on their last drive. They're at the 15-yard line. Two in the backfield with Ugarte. The Bandits have not run in quite some time. And Ugarte spills out. Far side. Catch is made. Cummings. He extends. That ball was loose, but he crossed the plane before he lost it in the end zone. Touchdown, Bandits.
And here goes Jabril Cummings again, getting a nice reception there and a nice throw from David Ugarte, who slings it out to his right off to Cummings, and Cummings fights his way into the end zone. Ball was stripped, but I believe he did cross into the end zone before. We'll look for a replay.
Yeah, once any part of that ball crosses the goal line, obviously the play is over and the touchdown was scored. But a nice job on the run. Good job of securing it, and there's the extension. A little bit of a stop there was perfectly timed, and that's when we saw the ball come out. I think that's a good call there as a touchdown. The Bandits are back up here by 14, looking to extend and go 3 for 3 on 2-point conversions. The fake underneath. Ugarte looks far side. Now he looks to run, tucks it down. There is a flag down. The Bandits are in for the 2-point conversion, but it will depend on the result of this flag. It's coming back.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd imagine it was a hold there on the offensive line there, holding against the Demon Knights. But nonetheless, a good job there from Ugarte, who found his way in some trouble there and some pressure from the Demon Knights. Found his way into the end zone, but it is coming back.
Yeah, we'll get another quick look at it, see if we can pick up the hold on the play. It was there. Number 44, I think, was the guilty party, Jonathan Paez-Lopez. But now from 10 yards further back becomes a much more difficult two-point conversion from the 13-yard line. The Bandits, these are important 2 points here. They're back up by 14.
But with everyone going for two, this is a
Right.
huge two-point
Sure.
conversion. You don't want to be the first team to miss the first two-point conversion. That'll set you back
Yep.
a little bit and create that margin that is so little there.
Yeah, and it just forces the Demon Knights to have 4 scoring plays,
Yeah.
a couple touchdowns and 2 more conversions just to tie. And this is going to be Cruz on the throw, and it's dropped in the end zone by Cummings. He was wide open, and he's going to want that one back.
Yeah, wow. Cummings, who has had some really nice receptions tonight, 2 receiving touchdowns, just couldn't come up with it there in the end zone. He was wide open. Like you said, he's going to want that one back. And we hope, or at least the Bandits do, that won't bite them in the butt as this game continues and as this first half ends there. But a little bit of a break there for the Demon Knights as they seemingly blew another coverage on the defensive side. And the Bandits tried to cash in, but Jabril Cummings unable to come up with another 2-point conversion down catch. Although he's got 2 touchdowns, and nonetheless, the Bandits are up 22-8 here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Bandits, for all intents and purposes, they did what they needed to do. They got the ball at the Demon Knights' 28-yard line, and when you get the ball in that great a field position as a product of what your defense and special teams on the return was able to do for you offensively, you want to be able to reward them with 6 points, and that's exactly what the Bandits just did. And with time winding down in the second, again, we don't have the official time to give to you unless it's relayed up to us or unless we eavesdrop and hear it. But we're still, we haven't gotten to the 2-minute warning yet. But if you're the Demon Knights, not only are you under pressure and you're going to have to score here or, try to get it within 1 score, now the time is not going to be your friend either. And we've seen how much they've relied on the passing game here today.
Yeah, and they're going to have to continue to stick with that. Caballero's been all over the field, defensive and offensive alike, but they're going to have to sling this rock very quickly as this time is running out.
Yep.
But another thing to fall back on is they do receive the ball to start the second half.
Right.
So they have a little bit of, time to play with here, sort of say, but they would like to score here. And that's good pick up there for the Demon Knights.
Yeah, played on a bounce by Lopez. Lopez gets it out. Bounces into one of his own players and now hits the sideline down the 40 and is pushed out inside the 25-yard line. And Cam, you said it all starts with the way he fielded that off of the turf. A brilliant job, and then no flags as the Empire State Demon Knights have set themselves up with great field position.
Tyshawn Lopez, just an incredible job. Picked up the ball off the turf, a football nonetheless on the turf. Sometimes that goes a little bit rough, and that'll bounce away from you. But a nice job from Tyshawn Lopez, waiting for it to get back into his hands, and he just rushes through the defense on the Bandits side, pushes his own defender, or own offensive guy into a defender for the Bandits, and finds himself another 15 to 20 yards past that. And now the Demon Knights are in great field position here as the first half is winding down. That is a huge play from Tyshawn Lopez, really showing his maturity, his veteranness, a great style of play there. You got to give him some style points in that one. Tyshawn Lopez.
Yeah,
very
that's
good
really
job,
one of the first times he's actually had the ball in his hands, too. It's been a first half. We're used to seeing a lot of Tyshawn Lopez. He has just not had the ball in his hands all that much. And you can't blame the Demon Knights because they've definitely hit the Bandits with some things they weren't expecting here. But Taz Smith is back in the backfield for the Demon Knights here as they set up from about the 22-yard line of the Bandits' 1st and 10. Time to break out the binoculars again as we set up from the far side of the field here.
No penalties, Demon Knights. No penalties.
Exactly, and that's going to be a give to L.A. Richards on the end around, and Richards is going to get stood up for no gain on the play. If anything, he might have gotten about a half a yard.
Yeah, it's good that he at least found himself back to the line of scrimmage. You don't want to be losing yards here. And like I said before that play started, no penalties. You do not want to shoot yourself in the foot here, especially as time is winding down. And the Demonites are going to have to go quick here. Yep. I'm assuming that this first half is coming to a close.
Yeah, we didn't get the official signal for the 2-minute warning, but we got to figure we're close. Caballero, again, another good pocket. Middle of the field, and that one, it bounces off of a couple of fingertips. Incomplete.
Near interception there, looked like for the Bandits, possibly Quincy Banks getting involved in there as he limps his way off the field, trying to fight his way and walk it off here, but he was in the mix for sure there as a near interception from Caballero, but the Demonites escape one, and they'll have another chance here.
It was Trey Thompson, the intended receiver as well, but there were two Bandits bearing down on him in the secondary, kind of sandwiched him there a little bit, and it bounced off a couple of fingertips before it found the turf. But now it'll be a 3rd down and 10 for the Demon Knights. And, if you know anything about this ESDK team, this is not a friendly down and distance for them. 3rd and long, it kind of takes them out of their element and what they want to do. But let's see what they can dial up here. Lopez is in the backfield with Caballero. Shotgun formation. Caballero does have a good pocket. Looks out in the flat, and it's dropped. Inexplicably dropped that time by Walter Stevens, and that would have been enough for a first down.
Man, and we see 2 drops now, one from Trabril Cummings wide open for the Bandits, and now Walter Stevens, who is wide open there for the most part and would have received nearly a first down, which now we're coming down to a 4th and 10 just about for the Demonites. As we take a look at this, Caballero had a lot of time here, found Walter Stevens wide open and just couldn't find it into his hands. And it's obviously very mad at himself there as he would like to take that one back. But Caballero's going to have to find that magic rabbit out of his hat here.
Can he find it? 4th down and 10. Again, good pocket looking. Corner of the end zone and getting up and trying to corral it were the Demon Knights. But that one, again, a good defensive play in the secondary that time. And unfortunately, the Demon Knights come up empty on the pass that was intended for number 19, who we do not have on our roster, unfortunately, but a good job in the defensive backfield by Andre Matthews Jr. and Kenneth Frederick on the play, and the Demon Knights turn it over on downs.
Yeah, and that was another very solid throw from Caballero, kind of going for not a Hail Mary per se, but a far throw, which is not really their game here, but really almost a beautiful catch there. But these Bandits are applying a lot of pressure in their secondaries and having about 2 guys for every play that we saw on this drive here, as the Demon Knights were on the 20-yard line the whole time and couldn't find themselves any further after a great return from Tyshawn Lopez to start off that drive. But nonetheless, they got to hold them here. The Bandits cannot score to end this half if the Demon Knights want to look to win this game here.
Yeah, you talk about potentially getting a 2-for-1 and scoring at the end of the first half, getting the ball back in the second. Well, now you have to just make sure you're going into halftime only down by 2 scores, as we have a timeout that was called by ESDK right before that play went off. So they're down to 1 on our count, and they didn't like what they saw there. But really unconventional stuff. The Demon Knights, the most amount of points they've allowed in a single game this year, 20. That was against the Bandits back in Week 7, Week 8. Well, the Bandits have already outdone themselves. They've scored 22 here, and they've forced a Demon Knights team that likes to ground and pound and grind out wins. Now their backs firmly against the wall here.
Yeah, like you said, they've forced him to really throw the ball, and Caballero has done a nice job, but his receivers really aren't used to having this much traffic and this much reliance on themselves. We usually see a lot from Tyshawn Lopez running it, making a lot of plays, a lot of RPOs, but in this case, it's been nothing but throwing from Caballero and the Demon Knights, which to a certain extent, they had a really perfect drive that ended up in a touchdown. But nonetheless, after that, the throwing game just has not worked out so far. Even with some nice throws from Caballero, just the receivers have not been able to come down, plus some very good coverage from the New York Bandits.
No doubt about it. The Bandits have covered well, especially coming out of that second drive where they were kind of cut up in the secondary. Ugarte working on the far side, and that one is dropped as well. As unable to come down with it was Fabian, but that was put right in his breadbasket.
It is a little colder tonight. We're getting into November here. Everyone's hands a little bit colder tonight. might be a little bit of a couple reasons why we're seeing a couple more drops than usual. Because it is a little cold.
Yeah, Bandits again want to go quickly here, but we'll get you another look at that drop that time by Fabian. And, yeah, just inexplicable that time.
Yeah, a couple Demon Knights players all around Fabian. Fabian. Fabian.
Yep.
A couple Demon Knights guys all over them. Just need to hone in that defense and secondaries to figure out where these Bandits are going.
They go on the other side that time to Cummings. Cummings gets bottled up pretty quickly there.
Tommy Vaughn.
Yeah, very minimal gain on the play. That's a nice defensive job by the Demon Knights. But what it does is it continues to wind the clock down here, as we'll have a 3rd down and 10. No gain on the play.
Yeah, I don't know if they officially called a 2-minute warning yet. Did you see
We didn't see the
Dave?
signal. We haven't seen the signal unless they just motioned it very quickly to both sidelines. Remember, this game did get off a little bit later than usual, but we didn't see it officially. 3rd down and 10. Ugarte pump fakes, now wants to wheel out of trouble and is under pressure, and that one is very nearly intercepted. And if it was, he might still be running. Malik Smith had both hands on it, and instead of Demon Knights ball, it'll force a 4th and 10.
Yeah, I mean, just almost a huge break for the Demon Knights there. Ugarte going for a last effort to get the ball out of his hands to avoid a sack there from the Demon Knights, but nearly ends up in an interception as we take a look here. A lot of pressure from the Demon Knights here. I believe number 56 for the Demon Knights, that would be Jason Pickens, who got around Ugarte, and Ugarte just slung the ball out to number 7 for the Demon Knights and number 19, if I'm not wrong, who we don't have.
Yeah, no, it was the gentleman down now is Darius Grice. He was the second one in on that, but Malik Smith, number 17, had his hands on it at first, but now Grice is going off very gingerly. We've seen Grice play some running back for this team, defensive back and linebacker through the years for this ESDK team. That's another tough injury sustained here for the Demon Knights, but
applying no pressure to his right foot.
What the Demon Knights have been able to do, though, is force what we think is an obvious punting situation here for the Bandits, and maybe they will have a chance to sneak in another drive here before the end of this first half.
Yeah, we could see another very good return from Tyshawn Lopez, who had a great one, just a return to go, and he'll look to put these Demon Knights back into good position here. The Bandits discussing on what they're going to do, but it would behoove me if they didn't go for a punt here. So hope I used that word right, Dave.
No, I think so. I'll put
who's ever got the dictionary up can let me know.
We invent some words every now and then in the booth. It's quite all right. But, no, it's an interesting scenario that you bring up, Cam, too, because the product of that last return, too, now if you're the Bandits on your sideline, you're thinking, what do we do here on this punt? Do we elect to just try and work the sideline here, try to get it completely out? When you do that, sometimes you risk shanking one completely and only getting about 10 or 15 yards net. Or do you take your chances and sky one up here and allow one of these dynamic returners another chance to go all the way down the field?
Yeah, it's a similar situation as the Demon Knights had to do. They punted it away and only netted about 10 to 15 yards on their punt, even though they kicked it about 30, 40 yards. But it's all about the net profit here. We'll see what the Bandits do here.
Undoubtedly a punting situation. We'll just have to see where they elect to punt it. And it is going to be a throw on 4th down, and they catch it. Do the Demon Knights and actually do the Bandits a little bit of a favor there. Wow, as the Bandits got themselves an arm punt of about 25 yards. And Walter Stevens, give him credit. He scores an interception there, but that is essentially about a 25-yard punt.
The old arm punt?
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to go for it, but they did, and sometimes you want your defenders to just slap it down so you get the yardage back and make the Bandits turn it over on downs, but you'll take the interception regardless.
Yeah, well, statistically, momentum-wise, you kind of like that here, as unfortunately our replay doesn't go back enough to get that, so we have to abandon the replay for that one. But no timeouts left, so maybe that's why. Yeah, there's no time left. So we did at some point miss the 2-minute warning, and I think that's the discussion here, and that's the reason why Stevens decided to intercept that, because it was the last play. And now it makes perfect sense, right? That's why you wouldn't punt in a situation like that. It is indeed the last play of the half. But they are collecting here, so we think it's halftime, but before we do that, let's see what the result of this decision is here. But that makes perfect sense now.
Yeah, I mean, Stevens gave his best effort after landing the interception. He tried to make some moves here. He didn't fall immediately to the ground, so he knew the situation, and the situation was that they were going to go for not an arm punt, but almost a Hail Mary, trying to figure out something here. And Stevens did the best he could, caught the ball, and tried to run it into the end zone. Didn't come away with it, but, not a terrible first half if this is what it is.
Yeah, and I believe we are at halftime. There's no urgency at both sidelines, I think.
Got a couple guys walking off, too, on the Bandit side at least.
So we haven't been given an official signal, but we're gonna call it ourselves. It's halftime. The Demon Knights are not even interested in what the Bandits are talking about with the officials. So we'll call it here. It is halftime, and a very eventful one. The New York Bandits are up on the Empire State Demon Knights 22-8. They are up by 14. And you know what, Cam? They were up by 14 the last time these two teams played at halftime. The Demon Knights ended up coming back and taking the lead late in the fourth before the Bandits had the last laugh. So this game is far from over.
Yeah, and it's a good thing. You kind of talk about in the beginning of the game. Do you want to defer? Do you not? Do you want to land the first punch? Do you want to land the first punch in the second half, which is the last half of the game? That's what the Demon Knights did, and they're down 14 here, and they'll get the ball back after coming off of an interception, which definitely changes the momentum in a sense because, even though it was kind of going to be an interception or a Hail Mary touchdown, we saw the interception, but now it's all Demon Knights here. Demon Knights are going to have to come out punching. This is their time to punch now at the start of the second half. They're down 14. Hopefully there are injuries over their head. Two guys go down earlier in the game. We'll see if they'll be able to come back in. But nonetheless, it's going to be their fate is in their hands. They have a chance here. This game is not blown out of the water. The Bandits were swinging hard and heavy when they went up 16-0, but Empire State Demon Knights, they came back in this game pretty strong. It is 8-22, Bandits holding a lead.
All right, so we're going to send it over to our commercial break. When we come back, we'll get you ready for half number 2 here. We're at halftime. The Bandits are up on the Demon Knights 22-8. All right, we are back here in this abridged halftime here at Facina Field. 22-8 is our score. Now, we noticed in the first half that our feed might have been a little jumpy at some points. We think we got that figured out here with our camera inputs and seeing what we can do here with the 1080 versus 720 and 60 versus 30. The usual things that we battle here when we're working off of Wi-Fi. But hopefully we have a little bit more of a seamless second half. But only time will tell because the Wi-Fi is something we do not control, Cam. Unfortunately.
You know what? I'm no Einstein, Dave. I try to do the best I can, as do you. You're definitely smarter with the technology. You guys should see the setup that Dave runs through every time. I just show up now, Dave. Dave's the mastermind.
Well, we'll get you involved with the setup at some point.
One of these days.
Yep.
Nonetheless, we're here at a nice, beautiful facility at Joseph F. Facina Field. And a little onside kick here from the Bandits, and the Demon Knights get it about the Bandits 48.
Yeah, Malik Smith with the good hands to corral that from the jump. And again, I think we are skipping a little bit.
I saw it on
this. Yeah, you saw
one.
it, right?
I'm waiting to see on the YouTube.
Yeah. But this is the third time in the game that the Demon Knights are starting on the Bandits side of the field for a drive. Actually, I'm sorry. This is the fourth time in the game. Their first two times they were. Then they had the long punt return by Ty Lopez. And now again here, they're set up, inside the Bandits' 50-yard line. Now, they only have the one score to show for it. But one of the things that we remarked about, coming into the game and when we went to halftime is the Demon Knights were down by 14 during the regular season matchup that we covered, Cam and I, here at Facina. And the Demon Knights came back, and they ended up taking the lead in the fourth quarter of that game. They're going to go deep down the middle of the field, and it was almost intercepted. Good defensive play that time by the Bandits' James Ingram. Got there a little bit late, but just in time to break up that pass.
Yeah, Caballero looking for L.A. Richards deep in basically a four-man coverage from the Bandits. They found themselves all sorts of defenders around L.A. Richards. Caballero trying to thread the needle, and he almost did, but good defense and good coverage from the Bandits yet again. Low snap there from Caballero. Caballero looks for L.A. Richards. There it is, trying to thread the needle, and in comes number 11 for the Bandits, James Ingram, who almost came away with a big interception on the first play of the first drive of the second half.
Yeah, no skips from our camera that time, so we're feeling really good about our reset.
There we go.
Going from 60 to 30 frames per second. Underneath the give, one of a rare run by Taz Smith, and Smith running downhill is inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. First down, Demon Knights.
We have not seen many runs from the Demon Knights so far tonight, but there goes. In comes the big fella, Taz Smith, number 44 for the Demon Knights. Good for a first down.
So weird to say that. We haven't seen a lot of running from the Demon Knights tonight. Just so weird.
Considering that's their whole offensive scheme for the whole year besides tonight.
Absolutely. And not even for the year, for forever. This is a team that loves to run the football, and that's not a knock on them. That's actually, a nod to them. Few teams have the power to do that year in and year out. Well-timed blitz that time by the Bandits, but a good pocket, and it's caught that time by Trey Thompson. Yes, indeed, inside the 15, just outside the 10 to the 13-yard line. It takes a good tackle that time by Quincy Banks to bring him down. Another first down for the Demon Knights.
Yeah, Caballero, a lot of time there. Some good blocking from his offensive line. Finds Trey Thompson in the middle of the field, and that's good for about almost 20 yards, really. Check out the replay here.
Yeah, Caballero, look how they pick up the blitz, too.
Just a beautiful job. Trey Thompson with a lot of room to run. Gets about another 8 yards after making the catch. Huge play from the Demon Knights there. And Caballero and the Demon Knights, it's been nothing but great offense so far to start this second half.
Excellent. And when you have the time to throw, it makes so much difference as well.
There's some really good blocking there from the Demon Knights offensive line.
1st and 10. They can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. They need to get to about the 3-yard line. Long count this time from Caballero. And he's going to take it himself. And he gets to about the 10, maybe just over it at about the 9-yard line. But it'll be a 2nd down and 7 coming up.
Yeah, design run play there for Caballero. Received the snap and instantly started running up the middle. Got a couple yards there. Not too much. Looks to be right at the 10-yard line. It'll be second and what is that, 7?
Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't done that more, Cam.
Yeah.
The last time we saw them, and even tonight, running Caballero. He's very sneaky back there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have the greatest, the tallest stature, and sometimes he can get lost there in between the guards and tackles. And
sometimes that's good for his benefit.
Yeah,
though.
Absolutely. Very dangerous in that way. Out of the shotgun with Smith to his left. 2nd down and 7. Bad snap, throwing out into the flat and incomplete. Sawicki had to try and catch up to it. It looked like Caballero might have, fumbled the snap a little bit because it came in on him a little bit funny that time.
Yeah, he had a little bit trouble receiving the snap there, and then Slowicki tried to make up for it. It was a little bit of a wonky play there, a wonky throw, a wonky snap. But nonetheless, Demon Knights catch a break, and nothing comes bad out of it. Look at there, a little bit of trouble there, but Caballero comes down with it, and Slowicki just right through the hands, but not really the worst play. He would have gained maybe a yard or two there.
Exactly. He would have been hit hard and probably right at the line of scrimmage. Yep. So it's 3rd down and 7, essentially 4-down territory here for the Demon Knights, you'd have to think. But they could really use the score here. Down by 14, opening drive, second half. It's going to be out in the slot, and it's incomplete as Lopez could not bring it in, and it'll be 4th down.
I'm telling you about this cold, Dave.
Yeah.
Couple drops that are hitting the hands from both sides of the ball, not just the Empire State Demon Knights, but also the Bandits alike. Couple just drops that we're not used to seeing, but as the weather changes a little bit, gets a little bit colder, hands are sitting there, you're not getting the ball maybe for a couple plays. Your hands get a little cold and stiff, and we've seen a couple drops so far tonight. 4-down territory here. The Demon Knights going to look to go for it, look to try to get a first down. They need about 7 yards here. 4th and 7, 22-8. Bandit Knights. Wow, I switched it up there.
You're making them a hybrid team. But, no, I was looking on that last replay to see if Lopez would have had something developing had he caught that, and I think he would have gotten about 3 or 4 yards, probably not the entire thing. But here we go, 4th down and 7. Huge play here, early stages, 3rd quarter. Low snap, corralled, they look on the corner, feed, it is up and caught, touchdown! Demon Knights, well timed, and the scoop made by Trey Thompson.
Trey Thompson, and there's the play we've been looking for from the Demon Knights. The lofted pass from Caballero, perfectly placed, and comes down with it. Trey Thompson for a touchdown. Demon Knights. That's what we needed to see, Dave. The 4th down converting. They get themselves all the way down into the red zone. They need to find the way to score. They've been struggling to do it the last few times we've seen them, and in this case, they get it down to Trey Thompson with a beautifully timed jump and catch from a beautifully placed ball by Caballero.
Absolutely, Cam. Trey Thompson, that's not an easy catch. That ball hung up there for a long time, and it's a good throw. Obviously, it was where it needed to be. But for Thompson to position himself, to go up, to make the catch, and then complete the catch through to the line or through to the ground, that's a tremendous job on all sides right there. And here comes a huge 2-point conversion.
You'd like to see them convert this one. This will put them in great standing with this score.
Bunched up, especially on the far side. And it's going to be Caballero taking it out by himself, looking for the pylon, and gets in easily. 2 points, and the Demon Knights, just like that, are down by 6.
Caballero having just an incredible night so far, doing it on both sides of the field, and ESDK finds themselves right back into the game, and this is why they defer. All the momentum in this second half is now in the arms of the Demon Knights. And it's going to be up to the Bandits to try to strip that away. But right now, the Demon Knights come back with such a good punch that it's almost leaving the Bandits feel defeated after that drive. Pure dominance from the Demon Knights there as they cashed in a touchdown and the 2-point conversion, making it 16-22. Bandits still up, but the Demon Knights are knocking on the door.
Absolutely, and well said, Cam. And again, we said it too. We're surprised we haven't seen a lot more running from Ricardo Caballero. He has the power and he has the wheels to get to the outside at times, and he proved it right there on a very important two-point conversion. So twice in this game now, the Bandits have gone up by 2 scores, and twice in this game, the this ESDK team has come back and has fired back and has landed a right hook on the Bandits. Now, the last time that happened, the Bandits responded as well and went right back up by 2 scores. But again, the Demon Knights in a great position here defensively to get a stop, maybe get the ball back. And it's a 1-score game, and essentially when it's a 1-score game, Cam, it's a 1-play game.
Yeah, 100%. And what's going to be key here is for the Demon Knights to hold off the Bandits here. Not even if they hold them off, they don't have to necessarily score, but you do not want to give the Bandits all the momentum right back. You got to stop them here, and you got to get the ball back to Caballero on the offensive side here. It'll be up to the Demon Knights to make a big stop versus a very talented David Ugarte and Bandits offense.
And the Demon Knights, as we've come to expect, just kick it out of bounds and are very content to let the Bandits just start from their own 40-yard line and to trot out their defense and dare the Bandits to go the 60 yards. Now, offensively, the Bandits have done what they've needed to do. They have gone up and down the field here on this Demon Knights team. I believe they've only been stopped once, right, Cam? I think.
Yeah.
Well, and then right at the end of the half
with
yeah.
the arm punt, Hail Mary.
Right, exactly.
Whatever you want to call it.
But you could just consider that halftime with that stop. But
right.
The Bandits, for the most part, have been doing what they need to do, and they've really done it with the arm of Ugarte as well. They haven't had – they've sprung off a couple of big runs, but they haven't had a real methodical run game in this one. It's been more about the run setting up the play action and the big arm of Ugarte down the field, and a monster game by Jabril Cummings.
Yeah, absolutely. Jabril Cummings, 2 touchdowns. Not to mention, Ugarte has done a phenomenal job, too. His passes have been looking phenomenal all day. And then you add in Joshua Hines, who gets it here, but the Demon Knights have done a very good job of stopping Hines today, which they've struggled with in the past. Last time we saw them, Hines going for a loss of about 4 yards there. Good pickup there from the Demon Knights.
That was a perfectly executed run blitz, and we know, thanks to our friend Dave Patterson, who came up and told us during halftime, Xavier Karp, the defensive coordinator for this Demon Knights team, they like to dial up the blitzes.
Yeah.
That's a run blitz that's perfectly timed. We're going to see it again after this play. We couldn't cue up the replay in time. Down the field, and a well-timed play, middle of the field, first down. They make it look easy on second down and long, and they pick up about 25, 30 yards on that play, and the Bandits are in business.
Yeah, big catch from Raymond Toledo there. Ugarte slung it out right to him for 25 yards. Raymond Toledo running the slant through the middle of the field, catches a pass with almost ease and running for another 5 yards.
Yeah, we think we'll get this replay in for you. We'll have to see if the Bandits decide to run a play. Now they do, so we'll get you back to live action. 1st and 10, and a sack upcoming for the Demon Knights. They bring the pressure and the heat again, and that time they get to Ugarte.
Christian Robinson was all over Ugarte there, clapping his way into Ugarte, getting a loss of down after a big play from the Bandits. Christian Robinson takes it into his own hands and says, Ugarte, I got to send you back a couple yards.
And this time we will get a chance to see the replay, unlike what we've been afforded here. But, yeah, again, just good pressure here. The Demon Knights bring 6 on the play, and that time they come up with a positive play defensively. 2nd and 15, another time blitz, and that time the Demon Knights were way offside. This is a free play, and it goes down the end of the field, and we'll see if they take the 5 yards here or if they take the loss of down in 7 yards, which is what the play got. But we know the Demon Knights like to blitz. That time they were well offside.
Yeah, they had a couple guys right away, and the line judge saw it right away. We saw the flag go up. I don't know if Ugarte, it was pretty blatant. I'm sure he knew he had a free play, but he also had 4 guys coming after him. He had to get rid of the ball there quickly.
And the blitz came from the side of the field that where the play was, opposite where the play was. And so now the decision is whether they're going to accept the penalty. So
yeah,
it's a holding. Oh, it's actually offsetting penalty. So they're just going to redo the down. It'll be 2nd and 15.
Well, not a bad job there. I mean,
that's a
That's a good break for the Demon Knights for
huge
sure.
Huge break.
I didn't see what the call was on the Bandits. Did you see it?
I was holding.
Holding? Both,
yeah.
okay. Holding and an offsides.
Yep.
Well, there you go. That's a nice break from the Demon Knights.
And that's a product where it doesn't pay to have a free play, right?
Yeah.
Because if they would have just blown that dead, they would have gotten a free 5 yards. Instead, they let the play continue. You commit a holding penalty, and it ends up, biting you a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but again, the Bandits have done a really good job tonight of crawling themselves out of, these holes. 1st and 15, 2nd and 15. They had a 2nd and 21 early in the game. They ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive.
Yeah, give a lot of credit to Ugarte, who throws the ball so well, finding himself out of these troubles.
A little bit more minimal pressure this time. Ugarte trying to get away from Lopez, shovels it out of bounds. Now he was beyond the tackles, but that ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage. There was nobody in the neighborhood, and there is going to be no flag here, and it's going to be whistled an incomplete pass. Now the flag comes down.
Yeah. There was a lot of chippiness and a lot of pushing and shoving. At the end of that play, Tyshawn Lopez was all over Ugarte there, who flung the pass out at the end there. But, man, just a good stop there from the Demon Knights. We'll see where the flag's at.
Well, if it ends up being a spot foul, and, yeah, it is going to be. That was a loss of 7 on the play and a loss of down, probably more importantly. So it's going to be 3rd down and 22 coming up.
Yeah, it's only getting worse for the Bandits on this drive. They're going to – but never say never. They like to play in 2-down territory here, no matter what, for most part of the game. 3rd and 22, if they get a nice find for like a guy like Raymond Toledo who can find himself in the middle of the field and get 15 or so yards, the Bandits are not out of this drive whatsoever.
And now if you're the Demon Knights, you have a decision to make. Do you bring pressure and try to force Ugarte's hand early, or do you send – 7, potentially 8 guys back in coverage to try and contend against this play?
Yeah, and they've sent a lot of pressure this drive so far.
And the Bandits are going 5 wide as well, or 4 wide. And Hines coming out of the backfield. They bring minimal pressure, middle of the field, catch is made, and promptly brought down at the 32-yard line, but that is a big play, about a yard short. It'll be 4th down and very short as Jenkins makes the nice play.
Yeah, there goes Jenkins, kind of similar to what I was just saying. They find the guy over the middle of the field to try to get those yards back, and Jenkins does a phenomenal job finding himself just maybe about a half yard short of the 1st down here as the Bandits will look for 4th and 1.
It's going to be a timeout called by the Demon Knights. So now they're down to 2. And so, you always have to think, those timeouts are like little gold coins, especially when you're down in a game like this. So what you decide to do is going to be big. We're going to get another chance to see that replay as well.
Yeah, they've done a good job so far. I think the Bandits are going to look for possibly Hines running up the gut, but nonetheless, ESDK has done a nice job defending that. Here goes Ugarte stepping back in the pass. It had a lot of pressure there from number 28 on the Demon Knights, but we don't have a name for him. But then just a beautiful catch there from Jonathan Jenkins, who was standing right there for Ugarte to get a nice little throw to him. While under pressure, again, we've seen it a lot. Ugarte is very poised when he's under pressure.
Yeah, they brought 5 on that play. They feigned like they were going to bring in the 6th, and then he dropped back in coverage. But here we go, 4th down and 1. A very favorable, element here for the Bandits when you have a guy like Josh Hines in the backfield. But Ugarte is also a threat to run with this as well. Let's not forget about him. Yeah. We would like to think the Bandits, the Demon Knights, are going to be in man-to-man coverage here. Let's see what they do. 4th and 1. Big play here. Ugarte going to take it himself. Around right tackle, has the 1st down easily, backpedals a little bit. Now turns towards the goal, and he walks it in, or runs it in, I should say, rather untouched. And on a 4th down, it figures, Cam, another touchdown for the Bandits on a 4th down play. They go back up by 12.
There goes David Ugarte, and these Bandits, David Ugarte using his legs. You talked about it before the play. They had Joshua Hines right next to him, but in the end, it's David Ugarte who takes it himself. Running pass, he had the 1st down, then gets a block from his receiver, then cuts into the inside and finds himself unscathed, untouched, right into the end zone for 6. It's David Ugarte, 28-16, Bandits.
Unbelievable. they clap right back. It's like both of these teams just do something positive, and the other team just doesn't flinch. There's just no flinching going on both sides here.
And we're seeing deja vu just like last time. Demon Knights came out scoring, and the Bandits do it again.
1,000%. David Cruz is in at quarterback now, and he's going to take it himself. Do we have an official signal? I don't think he got in. Well, I think the near side judge waved touchdown, but the far side judge said no. So, no, he is not in.
Yeah, they rule it not in, so now the Bandits are 2 for 4, 50% on getting 2-point conversions. That's now 4 points that they do not have, which is still keeping ESDK in this game by a lot, really.
Well,
they could take 2 scores and take this lead pretty handily.
It's still a 2-score game, but, again, we'll see the result of the play slowed down here. It's going to be hard to see from our angle, but that little extension right there, you wonder if Cruz was able to get it, but it is a big 2-point conversion because instead of a 14-point game, it's a 12-point game. You still got to score 2 touchdowns. But now, ESDK has to score twice in the game, as I think, is that Caballero who's getting up a little hurt? It certainly looks like him.
You hope not.
I just can't see it from this far away. Yeah, no, that was not. That was
number 56, which would 56, be Jason Pickens.
Not 5, right. So,
I mean, you hope nobody's hurt,
right,
but in this case, Caballero has done such a phenomenal job and being the quarterback.
Yeah, both quarterbacks, don't want to lose him. Both quarterbacks have played really well here, Cam. There's no doubt. But here we go. 28-16 is our score. The Demon Knights are down by 12. We got to be at the midway point, maybe a little less of the third period. Both teams have had the ball once in this half. The Demon Knights are outscoring the Bandits 8-6 in the half, but they're down by 12. And the last time the Bandits were in this situation, Cam, they onside kicked it.
Yeah.
I think that they would want to send this one a lot deeper.
Yeah, I would say, try to run this clock dry as quick and as efficiently as possible, but they elect for the onside kick again.
And it's going to go out of bounds.
Yep.
So the Demon Knights will take it right there where it went out of bounds. And it's not quite the 50-yard line, but it's certainly very close. It's at the 47-yard line of their own. And that's one thing that the Bandits have given the Demon Knights tonight is good field position to start drives. And we'll see if the Demon Knights can once again climb back from being struck down by 2 scores and get this to within a score and a play again.
Yeah, I mean, Caballero did a phenomenal job along with his receivers and whole offensive line. Really, it was a really team first drive of the second half, and they did a phenomenal job. They're going to look to have to do it here again as this ball is backed up. For some reason, it was on the 40, but now they're moving it up a little bit.
Yeah, unless there was a 5-yard penalty there, because it looked like the ball went out at about the 47, and now it's at
I would agree with you.
43 or so. So I'm not quite sure why. And now they got to move the down markers as well, because the down markers had it.
Yeah, their coach on the Demon Knights is pointing to the 47-49 where we were, because that's exactly where it went out. But the referees and officials have it at the 44, which is
weird.
Pretty interesting considering they should have about at least, in my eyes, 4 more yards.
Yeah, I don't know why, but obviously if the ball doesn't travel past the 40, you get it where it went out of bounds. All right, Caballero back in. Taz Smith to his right side. The Demon Knights have done a lot of passing in this game. Richards is in motion. Caballero looking on the far side. One-on-one coverage, and the catch is made in stride. 25, it's a foot race from there. Inside the 10, touchdown, Trey Thompson.
Trey Thompson goes for the dunk on the field goal, and as he should. What a throw by Caballero, and the defense but kind of blundered there. They didn't see the throw was coming to Trey Thompson, and Trey Thompson takes the throw and runs wild with it. And just like that, the Demon Knights are right back in this game, 22-28. One play is all it took. Basically a 50-yard touchdown from Caballero and the Demon Knights. Let's take another look. Caballero steps back, a lot of protection, a lot of time, launches it out to Trey Thompson. The Bandits receiver defender didn't see where it's at. Trey Thompson makes an easy catch, runs wild for 25 yards, straight, almost unscathed into the end zone, and then dunks it on the field post. You gotta love it.
Gotta love it. As Shaheem Burnett kind of got crossed up on the play, the defensive back, the ball kind of underthrown, but probably should have been underthrown, kind of that back shoulder type deal. And the Demon Knights on one play, we've been saying it all night, these teams do not flinch. They are never out of a game. They don't look at it like, they don't drop their shoulders. They don't put their heads down. They just continue to get after it. And a 2-point conversion, a big one for the Demon Knights. About 22 guys in the box. Free play, at least at the start of this. Thompson made a one-handed catch on that, but they blew the play dead.
That would have been a nice little play there. A lot of movement there on the line there. Play was drawn dead right away, but it's going to be work out in ESDK's favor again. They're going to get about the 1-yard line. We'll see if they elect to maybe just run it in with Caballero or maybe Tyshawn Lopez. We'll see, but nonetheless, we saw a lot of movement there from left side of the defensive line.
Yeah, it was once again that kind of head flinch by Caballero that got him.
Yeah.
But good job there, and they'll get in a little tighter. Ball spotted at the 1-yard line for this very important 2-point conversion. The Demon Knights are still going to be down by a score at the end of this, but with a score, they'd be able to take the lead and not just tie. So it's a big one.
There
as
goes
we
that
have
head nod again.
Yeah, it's that flinch. It's that head flinch by Caballero. He's getting them. And they'll bring it a half a yard forward. So the ball will be spotted at the half-yard line.
Yeah, I'd imagine they're going to probably would just be Caballero taking it in himself for a 2-point conversion, but they might go elsewhere. But this head nod will be something to look forward to the rest of the game with how the Bandits have not been able to read it that well. You see number 9 on the Bandits, mad at his teammate. That's Justin Black, throwing his hands on his helmet like, you fell for it again. So did number 13. That is Kenneth Frederick. Like, you guys got to not fall for the head nod.
We'll do it again. The fumble on the play. A disastrous play for the Demon Knights at the half-yard line. And the 2-point conversion, a very eventful turn of events, is obviously failed on, and it will remain a 6-point game. The Bandits up 28-22. And there's one that the Demon Knights are going to want to have back. And they had the ball at the half-yard line, and I think it was just either the snap or the exchange where it just went awry.
Yeah, something was not right there. We'll check it out here.
We'll get to see it here. Is it the snap? Yeah, just Caballero was never able to bring the ball up. He was just never able to bring it up.
Yeah, so he just received it not well on the ball, came out, and Demon Knights, like you said, would like to have that one back. But nonetheless, 22-28, it is essentially, it is a one-score game.
Right.
But now with a 2-point conversion or a PAT, we've never seen it. They have a kicker in I believe Thomas Montanaro,
correct,
who kicks at half. We see him kick all the time at half, and he makes 30-yarders. But
well, you know what it is, Cam? It's everything but the kick, right?
Yeah.
It's the snap, it's the hold, it's the blocking. It's God forbid it gets blocked and returned the other way. It could be.
There's so many factors that you don't even want to mess with.
Yeah, sometimes it's like I'm not worried about the kick so much. I'm worried about everything else that has to happen in order for the kick to happen. So yeah, but. Wow, the Bandits 3 times in this game have gone up by 2 scores, and 3 times in this game the Demon Knights have come back and have made it a 1-score game. But that being said, the Demon Knights have not been able to get the stop after they have been able to score.
Yeah. So we'll see if this is the one where they do
Let's see. The aforementioned Montanaro kicks it right out of bounds, and the Bandits will start at the 40-yard line.
See how this goes again. You're going to need a stop from the Demon Knights at some point in this game. You need a stop with a score. We will see it here as this third quarter is probably winding down, I'd say.
Classic one here. But the Demon Knights did what they had to do. They scored on one play.
Yeah.
And basically took, 10, 15 seconds off the clock on that drive. And
taking that momentum
right
back from the Bandits.
Sucking all the energy out. But, on the other side, you got David Ugarte, who's been slinging it, tremendously in this game. Their run game has done enough. They're converting 3rd and 4th down. So the question now is, can the Demon Knights dial something up to get a stop?
We will find out, Dave, won't we?
Absolutely. New set of downs. Here come the Bandits. Up by a score. Ugarte back to pass the entire way. Flushed out towards the right side. The throw on the run is complete. And the catch is made. And still on his feet is Cummings, and he is finally down inside Demon Knights territory. Another big game for the young man, number 7, Jabril Cummings.
Yeah, about 25-yard reception there from Jabril Cummings, who has just had a phenomenal game so far. And Ugarte, another just solid pass on the run, under pressure from the Demon Knights. He's been under pressure all night. Let's take a replay here. Ugarte receiving the snap and immediately coming under pressure, rolls out to his right, and then finds Jabril Cummings, who's down at the first down marker, and then finds himself for more.
Back to live action. Ugarte now flushed out to the left side, and he gets popped out of bounds at about the 35-yard line, maybe a little bit more. It's enough for about a gain of 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, another good usage of Ugarte's legs. He didn't find anything open. That's kind of that action play, looking for something down the field. But in the case he doesn't find it down the field, he's always got his legs, either to the right or to the left. But even when he does that, we saw it on the play just before last, he finds himself an open receiver who finds themselves open. And it looks like we have another timeout
Demon
here.
Knights.
So Demon Knights using timeouts early here, 2 in the third quarter. They're going to hope that doesn't bite them in the rear in the fourth quarter, assuming they don't need timeouts. But we will see. They're taking a timeout here to kind of recuperate. Ugarte and the Bandits have kind of ran on them pretty quickly here. You got to sometimes slow things down and try to slow down that momentum.
Right. Well, while we have a little bit of break, we'll tell you that at the end of this game, Cam and our camera operator, Alex Paramethis, will go downstairs and we'll get some reactions from the post-game celebration, some interviews with some of the champions. We might have to interview one of our coaches on the losing side of things and get their impressions, but we'll get you those during post-game as well. I'll stay up here, so be sure to keep it locked here to PDF at the conclusion of this game, as we'll have some reactions live from the field as well. So stay tuned for that. Here on 2nd and 7, we resume action. The Demon Knights down to just 1 timeout here. We are still in the third quarter. Bandits up by 6 points. They were up by 14 at the half. Ugarte out of the shotgun. Hines to his left. He's going to get flushed out to the left. Looks down the field, and it is incomplete. That pass was thrown too far out of bounds to keep the receiver in. And so it'll be 3rd down and 7 coming up.
Yeah, another one of those plays where Ugarte immediately rolls out to his left. He had Hines in front of him throw a block, and he tried to look for a receiver down the field. And in the end, didn't come away with the catch. That was number, I believe, 18, that might have been.
Not sure.
Catch a number.
Yeah, that angle is so bad for me here in the booth.
Yeah, for both of us alike.
See it.
I'm trying to peek between multiple windows here, trying to find it on the camera. We didn't see it. Nonetheless, incomplete pass.
But 4 down territory here, and it's 3rd down and 7 for Ugarte and the Bandits. The fake underneath. Now the throw. I think it got deflected.
Yep.
It got deflected on the play, and a good job. And it's going to be a holding call on the Bandits as well. So this is an interesting decision here for the Demon Knights. There was a flag that went down immediately. The Demon Knights can either make it 3rd and 17 or 4th and 7. Holding, and they are going to assess, I believe, the yards. We haven't gotten a signal that it was declined yet.
Looks like they're going to put it
Yeah,
back.
it's going to be 3rd and 17. I'm actually surprised
that
they didn't make it 4th down and 7.
I was going to say, I don't think the yardage has been the factor of this game so far. We've seen Ugarte can get that yardage very quickly, especially with his receivers. I would have gone with the downs there.
All right, let's see if it pays off, this decision. Backside pressure, Ugarte going to get flushed out. He's going to run with it. He's going to get the 35, the 30. He's got the first down. He's bearing inside the 10, gets bottled up at the 15-yard line. There are no flags on the play, and on 3rd down and 17, Ugarte with the legs. First down, Bandits.
Yeah, we see it there. That's almost why I didn't really like the call to accept that holding call, because when they have that much room, their safeties and secondaries go back and allow for that much room for Ugarte to just run wild, and we saw him do it there, running for the 3rd and 17, first down.
Well, you see the backside pressure right there, and Ugarte is able to pivot out of the way and then turn it up the other way for a big gain.
He did a phenomenal job there, and we're seeing some magic from Ugarte yet again in these Bandits. The Demon Knights, at some point in this game, they're going to have to find a way to stop them and stop a hold to come back within this game and take a lead and or tie it at least.
They have not been able to do it, however, as this ball actually came back out to about the 25-yard line. So something must have happened there at the end of the play, or they must have Ugarte's knee must have been down a little bit earlier in that run. But anyway, this is Hines up the middle. Rare carry for him in this second half, and he barrels towards the first down, and he's got it.
Yeah, we've seen Hines. We've seen how destructive he's been. The Demon Knights, for the most part through this game, have shut him down, though. Like you said, we haven't seen him this much in the game so far, especially being almost nearing the end of the third quarter. We haven't seen him as much as we used to. But in that case, got a nice first down there for the Bandits.
Yeah, good job. And, again, moves the sticks. So now the Bandits have it 1st and 10 at about the 14-yard line, actually. Again, far side from where we are located, so it's very tough for us to pick up some of the action here. But it is the give to Hines. Hines looking to go off left tackle and is going to get bottled up at about the 10-yard line. He goes forward for a gain of about 5 yards on the play.
Yeah, another nice solid carry. You can never argue getting 5 yards on a carry. Hines doing a fantastic job over the last 2 plays, 15 yards.
Yep, and we'll call it actually a gain of 4 on the play because the ball spotted right at the 10-yard line. And the first down marker's at the 4. Now we have an official timeout, and I believe that could be the end of the third quarter.
Yep.
And did they pick up the ball? That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah,
yes, they did.
They go.
So that is indeed the end of the third. It makes this drive all that much bigger.
Yeah, 100%. 28-22, Bandits lead over ESDK. And yet again, here we go. These guys are going back and forth and back and forth. And now it's the Bandits' turn, knocking on the Demon Knights end zone.
Yeah, unbelievable. You know, this score was 16-0 at the end of the first quarter in favor of the Bandits. And since that time, Empire State has outscored the Bandits 22-12. But the Bandits just every time have been able to get the ball back and drive down the length of the field. And it's been that X factor, number 0, David Ugarte, just with the arm, with the legs, on 4th down especially. And every time there's a big play to be made, and on this drive it was the big 3rd and 17, Ugarte with the legs, making it work. And we're thankful we're going to have the play on this side of the field here as the ball now, we see it just inside the 10, and the first down marker's at the 4.
Yeah, we get a much nicer view here. Not many things in our in our eyesight at all.
Right.
So we have a nice call for you guys. Whether it be the Demon Knights getting a huge stop or the Bandits tacking on to their lead and possibly David Ugarte adding to his MVP resume.
Yep. And I think if the game ended right now, it would be him or Jabril Cummings, who have just been the standouts in this game. Similar to the way Toledo impressed during the regular season matchup. Cummings is somebody you have to watch out for. He's at the bottom of your screen, just outside the frame right now.
Got to wonder Ugarte's looking at him, but in this case, it's
Hines.
Hines.
Up the middle, head of steam. Hines, the big fella, rumbles in for the touchdown, and the Bandits go back up by 2 scores.
In the last 3 plays, it's nothing but Hines for a touchdown. Another 10 yards, 3 plays, 25 yards for the big fella, rumbling and tumbling into the end zone. Touchdown, Bandits.
Just amazing how much the Bandits have been able on their own sideline, their offense on the sideline, having to watch the Demon Knights go down the field, score against their vaunted defense, and then the pressure all on them. We said how many times, Cam, that the Demon Knights were sucking out the momentum of this game, but every single time the Bandits have an answer. And now another chance here to go back up by 14 points.
In this case, the answer was Joshua Hines, who we haven't seen much of, but now he gets himself involved into this EFA championship game and scores for 6. Here we go. Bandits going for 2.
Yep, and Ugarte not at quarterback here. It's David Cruz. And he gets the shotgun snap, throws a dart in the end zone, but it is low in the direction of Cummings, and the score will remain pat at 34-22.
Nonetheless, so still making it a 2-score game here as well. They could have had possibly a 3-score game almost with, missing these last 3 2-point conversions. But they are up 2 scores, and it's going to be up to the Demon Knights to really have another quick score, especially only having 1 timeout in this fourth quarter. They used 2 in the third, but they're going to have another 50-yard throw from Caballero at some point and then make a huge stop.
And it's like, how many times can you go to the well, right? It's like, how many times are you going to be able to come back? And, it's like a fighter, right? Like a prize fighter who gets knocked down on the canvas. You get knocked down once, you get up. You get knocked down twice, you get up. You get knocked down 3 times, they've gotten up. Now they've just been knocked down for a 4th time in this game. So if you're the Demon Knights, can you find a way to pick yourself back up here and get yourself, in the end zone again to try and make this a 1-score game?
They got to do it in timely fashion here, Dave. They got to figure this one out fast. We'll see. I can't imagine they go for another onside kick, but who am I to see? We've seen it all tonight, Dave.
And I don't really agree with that at all. Now, David Byrne is the kicker here, but the last 2 times the Bandits have kicked off, they've just basically given the Demon Knights the ball at the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
And I don't think they can afford to do that anymore.
Yep. I would agree with you. And here we go. Yep. Normal kicker.
Yep. Up to Lopez at the 30. Lopez gains the 40 and is put down at about the 43-yard line. So the Demon Knights still do get it in very good field position, as we have another guy down for the Demon Knights in a heap.
Looks like possibly Walter Stevens. Is that number 11? Am I seeing that right?
I think so.
Nope, number 14. Lynn Williams is down.
Yeah.
Looks like he's grabbing his knee.
Yeah, his knee. I thought at first it was his chest and then his knee, but he's getting some, whatever it is, he got hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, he didn't see the contact of where it happened.
Yep.
But it is another Demon Knights player who is down, and that's the 3rd of the game. I don't know if the other 2 returned earlier on, but.
Yeah, most of the guys who were banged up have come back, but there's actually a couple of guys down here for the Demon Knights. But, yeah, I looked at our replay, what I had on it anyway, and I couldn't see, I couldn't see him in the play, so no sense in winding it back. But Williams is getting back up, and he tried to go off under his own power and now does. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Although somebody should put their arm around that young man and get him over to the
sideline. Say help him out a little bit, at least get him to the sideline and then try to stretch things out and, I'm going to say, walk it off.
Yeah.
I don't know what the injury is, but.
Right. Well, at the end of all this, the Demon Knights are going to have the ball at their own 42-yard line. They've had great field position this entire game. The last time they had the ball, they got themselves a 1-play touchdown on a 56-yard touchdown pass to Trey Thompson, who was singled up on coverage. And they're 2 for 2 in this half with touchdowns. So let's see what they can do here on their 3rd drive of the second half.
And I'd imagine we're going to continue to see Caballero throw this rock. It's not going to be much running now in this uncharted territory of 4th quarter with 1 timeout. We're going to see a lot of throwing.
Right. Yeah,
and Caballero's done a phenomenal job so far today doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one good thing is that we've only seen 1 offensive play in this quarter so far. That was the touchdown. So most of the quarter is still intact.
Yep. Absolutely.
But
warm up your hands, receivers. Catch every ball.
Here we go. 4 wide receiver set. And the running back only in there for coverage is Smith. They're going to go for the deep ball again. It's a good ball for Richards, but he got spun around a little bit, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, ever so slightly underthrown. Nearly a perfect throw into 2-man coverage on L.A. Richards. L.A. Richards looked back, and it was just a little spun around, trying to decide, should he look left, should he look right? It was right there for another really good throw from Caballero, who nearly was sacked coming under 2-man pressure there.
Yeah, and I really like the throw here. I mean, there's only one place you could put this ball, and Caballero puts it in exactly the right place. And L.A. Richards just got turned around. He was looking over his right shoulder at first, then he spun around to look over his left, and that's when he kind of lost track of it. But that's a pretty decent ball that time by Caballero, but 2nd and 10 coming up.
I'm sure we'll see a similar throw here from Caballero yet again.
Bandits fake some pressure. Good pickup on the blitz, but that quick pass to Sawicki falls incomplete behind him on the play. Kind of a rush throw that time by Caballero because the heat was coming.
Yeah, the heat was coming indeed, and he just tried to look for anyone, and in this case it was Sawicki on the right side, about 5 yards out from the first down. Ended up not coming down with it. Although Bandits were threatening with a possible interception, had a couple guys there, but in this case, nothing comes of it. 3rd and 10 here.
Yeah. They would have taken a perfect pass there in stride to get anything really productive on that play too. But there's a big one right here. We know the Demon Knights, I don't know if they would punt in this situation, so it could be 4-down territory, but they really need a bunch here. 3rd down and 10.
Yeah, you almost have to. It's almost 2-down territory.
And we got some movement.
Free play.
Free play for the Demon Knights. They know it. They go down the end of the field. It is intercepted rather easily that time. And running it back is the defensive back who takes a huge hit down the other way. I believe that was that Toledo on defense, number 16?
I didn't catch the number, but we do have some fighting going on.
Taz Smith has been in the middle of a lot. But if you're the Demon Knights, you got to get out of this area pronto.
Yeah.
You just got 5 free yards from the Bandits.
You don't want to make anything offsetting or
definitely
or,
not.
God forbid, a guy who has a personal foul, you don't want to get him kicked out.
Correct.
With roughly 12 minutes left in this quarter.
Yeah.
In this game, really.
Yeah, and, the cooler heads have prevailed, which is good. And I think at the result of this interception will come back.
Yeah, and obviously Caballero knew it was a free play. The refs let it play on. We saw the flags go up. Caballero did as well and tried his best, but it did result in no receivers near the ball.
Yep. But you take that chance, and so now on 3rd down and 5, you have 2 downs to get 5 yards. You should feel pretty good about your chances here. But the Demon Knights have been pass all night long. Smith is in at running back. Demon Knights will go with 4 wide receivers. They spread them out, 2 on each side. 3rd down and 5. Caballero looking in the flat, wide open, and the catch is made. And down on the play is Stevens.
There goes Walter Stevens. Nice big catch there for the Demon Knights. 1st down.
Yeah, that's a nice job that time, and a very simple play. You're just going basically 6 yards, 5-6 yards, and out, and a pure timing. That ball has to be, on his shoulder by the time he comes out of his route. And that's just a nice job to see it, spinning it, and perfectly placed ball that time by Caballero, who's really played a very, very good game here tonight.
Yeah, he has played exceptional, and he cashed in on the mistake from the Bandits there, letting it be that easy throw to get that 1st down on a 3rd and 5 rather than a 3rd and 10, which we would have seen a little bit of a different situation there.
New set of downs for the Demon Knights. 1st and 10 inside of Bandits territory. They've moved the ball well. Caballero, designed keeper. Flag is down. It looks like it's in the vicinity of holding. Caballero was brought down probably about a yard behind the line, but this is coming back due to a hold. And
in crunch time, you don't want to be taking holds and fouls and flags, because it's not going to bode well now going from a 1st and 10 to a 1st and 15. Well, 1st and 20.
20, yeah. Yeah, and again, this is something that on these touchdown drives that the Demon Knights have had, they've done well. They've stayed away from penalties, but not this time. Now they have to work their way out from a 1st and 20 hole, and this is not something that we're used to seeing the Demon Knights crawl out of.
We're going to need to see one of those Caballero lofted throws right over to a guy like Trey Thompson, who has had a heck of a night.
And we'll see if the Bandits decide to bring pressure. They only bring 4. That one is swung out into the flat for for Trey Thompson. Thompson has stood up, no gain. He might have even lost one on the play.
Yeah, well, I was calling for Trey Thompson, not for a loss of 2 more yards, but it's going to make it that much harder for these Demon Knights, who got to find themselves about 22 yards up the field to get that 1st down, right about the 39-yard line for the Bandits.
Yeah, so it's actually, and the Demon Knights have it at their own 45, and they have to get to the 34, Cam. So
34, sorry, thank you.
So we're looking at 2nd down and 21, actually, so we'll fix that real quick for you. 2nd and 21. So 3 downs to get it, but again, clock is moving as well. Richards is in motion. He'll set up on the far side. Caballero looks up the middle, now down the field, and it's off the fingertips of Trey Thompson. Good. Oh, man, he should have had it.
Yeah, good coverage there from the Bandits, but it was in the hands again of Trey Thompson, He just couldn't come down and corral the ball, which would have been nearly a first down. And he has some good legs, Dave. I think he might have been able to get a first down on this one.
Oh, man.
Let's take another look. Coming down, a little bit of pressure on Caballero. Caballero slings it out to Trey Thompson, and it's right there. And he would have had some room to go and possibly, definitely a first down, I'd say. And he might have been able to find himself with some trickery and some style points, get into the end zone.
Yeah, the pass itself was good enough for the first down.
Yeah.
And then he would have had more. But now, 3rd down and 21 upcoming. And again, Caballero has had the time to throw in the pocket. And he's done well to step in and complete some of these throws. Do the Bandits bring heat? Richards in motion. The Bandits only rush 4. They drop 7 in coverage. Looking down the far side of the field, that one's intercepted. Playing center field and making the catch that time was number 27, Andre Matthews Jr. Remember, he's the kick returner as well, does well in the open field, and gets it back into Demon Knights territory. First down the other way.
Demon Knights looked like Slowicki was looking for a flag there at some point, but in the end, Caballero threw it into basically nobody on the offensive side, and it fell into the hands of Andre Matthews, who's done a phenomenal job today returning, like you said here, just right into his hands, and he runs it over to about just over the 50-yard line into Demon Knights territory now. Just a huge play for the Bandits and a crushing play for the Demon Knights.
Yeah, I just wanted to see, nobody was in the area at all. I was just trying to see the route running from the 2 guys who were out wide, and there was just nothing happening there. And again, that's an interception by Caballero, and I get it. But to me, Cam, that's just a product of 1st and 20.
Yeah.
When you go backwards 10 yards and now you have to start 1st and 20 instead of 1st and 10, you just got taken out of everything that you want to do. And that penalty on 1st down really destroyed that drive for the Demon Knights.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about since play 1. You do not want to shoot yourself in the foot, especially in times like this. As Hines runs it up, gets about a yard or 2.
Yep. Looks like officially a gain of 2 for Hines. And again, the Demon Knights coming with an enormous amount of pressure. But we're at the stage of the game right now where if the Bandits are able to turn this drive into points, then they have essentially, put the dagger in the Demon Knights at this point.
And they're going to be going for the dagger.
Absolutely. And
these 2 teams being rivals, they want to shove the other one down 6 feet, maybe even 10 feet under, Dave.
And if you're the Demon Knights on the other side, you're looking for one thing, and that is a turnover right now. You want to spin this ball back into your offense's hands.
Absolutely.
They fake some pressure at first. Ugarte, quick drop, finds his man Jenkins in the flat. Jenkins starts to turn it up, goes backwards a bit, and now gets held up at about the 43-yard line after a gain of about 4 or 5 on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd down and about 5 yards to go.
And it's Jonathan Jenkins who has had a phenomenal night as well. Just has been so linked up with David Ugarte the whole night. Just a phenomenal job by the 2.
Yeah, and that was a quick, half step drop by Ugarte to get that play going. And now you could see they're taking the full breadth of their huddle here. They're not hurrying up anymore because they know that time is on their side. And you could see the nice job by Jenkins to get up from that low pass and turn it up to about the 42-yard line.
Going to need a stop at some point from the Demon Knights if they want to hold on to that last bit of hope for this championship.
This is the most amount of points that the Demon Knights have allowed all season. Heavy pressure again. They work it in the flat, turning it up. First down, and a great job in the flat to kind of turn and step in by Toledo. And that turns them into a first down.
Yeah, Raymond Toledo, nice job there again, sifting his way through the Demon Knight defenders, who number 8 was all over him for the most part. Justin Stewart on the Demon Knights, but Raymond Toledo cut inside to his left and found himself a first down. And obviously here, Dave, the Bandits taking their time with each play, looking to draw out this clock.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that time Justin Stewart, thinks he has leverage from some of his defensive partners on the inside, so he takes the outside leverage and allows Toledo to just run up and get an easy first down there. Ball's at the 32-yard line. Once again, they run it up the B gap, and this time Hines has got some room. They try to strip the ball from Hines, but he's inside the 20, and another first down for the Bandits.
And we have found Hines. He is out, and he is showing off. That is another about 15 yards from Hines, who runs it up the gut very swiftly, the big fella, escaping his way through the defensive side of the Demon Knights, and he has done a phenomenal job this second half. Also having a touchdown, a huge touchdown.
Is that the 2-minute warning? Could it be?
I believe it is.
Wow.
This is a quick fourth quarter, Dave. If I had a running clock, I would have guessed it was at about 6 or 7 minutes.
Me too. I thought the clock was at the 5-minute mark or the 4-minute mark. Instead, we're at the 2-minute warning, folks.
The Bandits have done a nice job of really letting this clock draw out and wait and wait.
Well, here's the thing, Cam. Essentially, with the 2-minute warning now, and it's 1st and 10, they could just take a knee.
Yeah.
They don't have to play anymore. The Demon Knights can only stop the clock once.
Yeah.
So they'll stop the clock once, and then if you're the Bandits, you can essentially take a knee 3 times, and this game is over.
Yeah, we're looking at a 34-22. We said it would be a high-scoring game relatively to how these two teams have played, and you look at the track record. They've only gone up and up in the score. These two teams have figured each other out. We'll see what they elect to do here, if they will take that knee or possibly just run it.
Well, Ugarte's going to throw it. How about that? They go to the end zone with some space. Is he in? No. Out of bounds.
Phenomenal catch, buddy.
A great catch.
Yeah.
Beautiful catch, but he was out of bounds.
He did not get 1 foot in. Phenomenal catch, so good throw there by Ugarte and the Bandits going for the dagger.
Yeah.
But it was out of bounds.
Christopher Kelly Davis on the catch. Well, that'll stop the clock and make it a 2nd down and 10 for what it's worth. But we'll get another look at it here in real time.
Yeah, I did not think Ugarte and the Bandits would elect to throw this ball and kind of just take their win about as easy as you could get it. But Ugarte steps back, and there he goes for the catch, but he did not get his foot in. Ugarte again.
Now they give it underneath to Hines. Hines bounces off one tackler, gets stood up and brought down at about the 10-yard line after a gain of 7 yards on the play. We'll see if the Demon Knights elect to stop the clock here. They have 1 timeout remaining.
You know, Dave, I'm glad I'm not out there trying to block and stop Joshua Hines. He is a big fella, and he has done a phenomenal job tonight, and he's well on his way to becoming a champion.
The Demon Knights have not stopped the clock, so they did not call their timeout, so the clock is running. We are inside of 2 minutes to go. Got to figure about 1:30, 1:20 remaining on the clock. The Bandits got to get up to the line of scrimmage pretty quickly here on 3rd down and 3. High snap. Ugarte wants to run it himself. Stiff arms one guy, gets out of a second tackle maybe, and stays in bounds at inside the 20-yard line. It doesn't matter. Now we get flags as the Demon Knights took exception.
Couple birds down there.
We had some birds flying around. And the Bandits have reacted too, so they're going to get called for a flag as well.
Yeah, this game is coming to a close, and both teams are realizing, we've seen a little bit of anger from the Demon Knights there. Malik Smith, not happy with how that play kind of went there, but, it's coming down to the end of the game. 2 rivals looking for glory, and it's looking like it's going to come down into the hands of the Bandits. I think they're calling the game here. The Bandits are all over the field. Referees are walking off.
I think they've called it. I think they've called it, Cam. I think with the game being in hand, I think they called it there. So, and I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, rather than see, everyone get a little frustrated, call the game. The game was essentially over, and the Bandits take this one 34-22 over the Empire State Demon Knights, and they finish their season 9-1, and they are the back-to-back champions, the New York Bandits, taking this 34-22.
Yeah, absolutely. What a moment, what a moment for these guys. And yeah, Cam, why don't you and Alex head downstairs? I'll take it from here as far as calling it, but make sure you got your equipment there. Let's get you set up here, and then you get us some interviews. All right, so this is set up. But yeah, in a few moments, we'll just make sure that you guys are paired up. Okay, good. Guys, do a quick test when you're down there, and then when you're ready to send up some interviews, just send them right up. All right, so we are getting ourselves set here for, got to move over some graphics here. But the Bandits 34-22 are your EFA champions in back-to-back style here. So what a moment for this team. What a great job that they've done. And in a few moments, we'll see the trophy celebration and all that other stuff. But, we'll have a lot of, noise from the field level. And our boys, Cam and Alex Paramethis, will conduct some interviews. It'll take some time for them to announce our offensive MVP, our defensive MVP, and all that other good stuff. But we'll take you down to field side now, and we'll get you some post-game interviews in just a moment. Enjoy the post-game, everybody. I'll be back on the headset in just a few moments. Champagne is popping down there, that's for sure, as we set our camera up a little bit to get the post-game celebration going on. Once again, Cam and Alex are down at field level, and they'll get some post-game interviews with some of these guys. I think David Ugarte is downstairs with the boys as well, so we'll get that going for you in just a few moments. Just a tremendous job by David Ugarte, who I would have to assume is going to be named our player of the game. But, of course, that'll remain to be seen as well. We got Jabril Cummings as well, who's downstairs with Cam and Alex as well. So we'll get some of that going on. And I'm trying to get a sense of where our trophy is at this point. I'm looking around. I'm trying to spot, George and Sean, who are a big part of this. You see the champagne popping at midfield. These guys are enjoying it. And, something we spoke about during the pregame as well with both David Ugarte and Sean Kelman, the defensive coordinator, is that this is a Bandits team that struggled a lot the first couple of years that, PDF was covering the EFA. There were 2 years where the Bandits did not win a game, actually with the exception of maybe a forfeit win here and there. But to do what they've been able to do these last 2 years, they got themselves to a bowl game last year as well. It's just been phenomenal. And obviously the personnel is a big part, but the ownership here with Earl Thomas and the coaching staff here with the Bandits, they have just done a tremendous job with this group. The faces have stayed pretty much the same over these last couple of years. They did lose a little bit of talent, but just an amazing job here for these guys. Once again, we'll have some post-game interviews coming up in just a moment. While we wait for our trophy presentations, I'm going to reposition our camera a little bit so we can get the trophy presentation in. So I'm going to step off headset just a little bit. Just a great moment. You see it on your screen. Bandits personnel. Airdrop him. Airdrop him. Yep, asking our guys to airdrop some. So we're going to have the trophy presentations in just a moment. We want to get that first, but you're seeing it on your screen here. They're announcing the offensive and defensive MVPs, or they're getting set for a photograph as well. Cam has worked his way back up here with Alex. What was that saying? No, that's his MacBook. See if you can find mine. PDF.
No, maybe get it closer.
Drop is on.
Maybe it's on.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, so Cam, oh, I took your headset. Sorry, Cam. Actually, wait a minute. This is mine. I stole Cam's headset. I wonder why he wasn't going on headset. There's the champagne going up.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to talk with Cummings, Ugarte, and Joshua Hines coming up very soon here once we get it uploaded to our computer. The New York Bandits are champions. And, Dave, I had a great time going down to interview them on the field real quick, as we'll see it very shortly.
Yeah, we'll try to get them going in just a few moments. But meanwhile, we're still seeing the trophy presentation as well. So that'll keep us busy a little bit.
Yeah, while being down here and while I was even up here now, I hear the rumblings of champagne being popped. I got hit with a little bit of champagne, a lot of MVP chants over Ugarte. This team is a team built of champions and winners, and these interviews will say it once we pull these up.
All right, so we're going to get them ready in just a moment. But for now, we're going to stay with this real quick, just to see if they get the trophy presented. And if we get a chance to see who they actually named as offensive and defensive MVP, I think it's got to be Ugarte. Alex, can you go on camera and see if you can get a close-up of what's going on there?
I did just see
you don't mind.
MVP chants are raining down. Ugarte had a trophy in his hand while they were saying MVP chants, so I'm assuming it's going to David Ugarte, who is just phenomenal, not just today in this championship game, but all season long.
Yeah, we're getting a chance to look at it now on your screen. Oh, good job there. I think if maybe it was Andre Matthews Jr., I don't want to speak out of turn when I say that. Number 27 was the defensive MVP. They usually give out an offensive MVP, and there's the trophy.
There you go.
Alex has it in the shot. Good job, Alex.
Phenomenal job.
Our coaching staff hoisting it up. There it is. Beauty. Good look right there.
As the team surrounds the trophy,
Nice,
the New York Bandits, champions of the EFA.
Good stuff right there. Good stuff right there. All right, let's throw it down to Cam, who's with the offensive MVP. At least in our booth, he was the offensive MVP, but we think he's got it as well.
Chance are raining down on him.
Yeah, Cam down with David Ugarte.
Champions, what is going through your mind right now? Hey, at the end of the day, I couldn't do it without my guys. We've been fighting and clawing all season. It hasn't been pretty, but we got here. We had one more job to get done, and we got it done at the end of the day. You guys finishing 9-1 in champions. Phenomenal season all the way. What do you guys give credit to most? Hey, to our coaches. They dedicated to us at the end of the day. They always did it at practice with us, leading us. Hey, we're here. We're champs, baby. Absolutely. David, congratulations. You guys are champions. Appreciate it. MVP.
Awesome. There, you caught a little bit of the champagne shower as well.
I
there.
did. I got a little bit of a taste of it. I can't lie with you, Dave. I kind of liked it. I felt like a champion myself.
There you go. You got to drive home later. Be careful. Jabril Cummings is Cam's next guest downstairs.
I mean, Cummings, 2 touchdowns. What is going through your mind? You had 2 incredible touchdowns leading your team to a victory here. What do you have to say?
No, it was just a good game. You know, we prepared right, and we came out here and executed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just happy we got the W tonight. You know.
Yeah, what goes into building a championship team? You and Ugarte were like this all game. What goes into building a championship team?
Hard work and dedication. That's it. Hard work and dedication.
Absolutely. And what do you look forward to in the future with this team?
More championships and a natty, baby. Yes, sir.
Love it. Congratulations.
Perfect.
Great job again there, Cam. And finishing it up with the big guy, Josh Hines, who was a huge part of that
I'm here with Joshua Hines. Joshua, you didn't really have the ball that much in the first half, but in the second half and fourth quarter, you really held in and got a touchdown. What are your thought process? Not really starting on the run game. Usually the run game for you is a big part of this team, but they kind of shut you down a little bit in the first half, but you came out swinging in the second half. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, we have a championship to win, and I know that we have one goal set. So if we didn't do that, I know we wasn't going to win. So I had to make sure and get into that end zone, make sure we finish as a team together.
Absolutely. What goes into building a championship team like you guys, the New York Bandits?
Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. Once you commit to practice every week, that's how you win championships. That's how you do it every week.
What do you look forward to in the future with this team?
Winning more championships, winning championships till the day I can't even run no more. And that's really it for me.
Congratulations, David.
So
Good job.
Thank you.
Josh Hines, what a baller in this one, Cam. He got off to a slow start, but just owned that fourth quarter in those final drives. Great job for this Bandits team, and a great job by you down there getting caught up in all the emotions and, giving these guys their due, their due on camera.
Absolutely.
So, Cam, let's talk a little bit about your final thoughts. We only covered a couple of games this season in the EFA, but both times that we covered them, we covered this championship team. Very resilient. Alex, if you could just move that camera down a little bit. There we go. Cam, again, final thoughts.
Yeah, like we said, I've seen both of these teams play twice now, and both games were just very competitive. In this case, the New York Bandits prevailed, and they really took it and ran with it. I think I'd be remiss to say if I said the Demon Knights did not play good, because they played amazing. Right. They played a really good brand of ball, but in the end, the New York Bandits are just a more collective team, I think. I think even when talking to the guys, they are all bought in. They practice a lot. They practice together. They communicate together. They do everything together in preparation to build these championship wins. You see them right now all communicating. They are built on success, and they are built for one reason. And the one reason is to win this. Just an incredible team. But once again, I'd be remiss. The Demon Knights, just an incredible job. Yep. And this game, I think, was a much better game than what we saw a month ago. They just looked so sound. Caballero looked very good throwing the ball. They had a couple guys on their team. Lopez got into the mix. Trey Thompson had a great game. L.A. Richards was doing well. They have a lot of talent on their team, and they are undoubtedly the number 2 team in this EFA division. But nonetheless, the New York Bandits are just the most complete team I've seen in semi-professional football. Really solid team. Ugarte is phenomenal. They have a guy like Joshua Hines, who is just a big fella running rampant through everybody. Jabril Cummings had a phenomenal game. They even got David Cruz in on the action, coming in on the 2-point conversions. Jonathan Jenkins was all over the field today. They got Raymond Toledo. They have so many guys on their team that are just winners, and that's what they did here. A 9-1 season, ending off as the champions, 34-22 over the Empire State Demon Knights.
Yep, I think one of the key words for a game like this was resiliency, and both teams showed it. New York went up by 2 touchdowns very early, but after those first 2 touchdowns, the game was pretty even from there. Just 2 heavyweight fighters slugging it out, landing right hooks, getting themselves off the mat. And in the end, the Bandits were just a little bit too strong for the Empire State Demon Knights. The number 1 seed pretty much all year long, they held first place, and they earned it, and they showed why. 34-22 is our final. Now, before we go off the air, we want to thank a lot of people. Number 1, of course, George and Earl and Sean at the EFA. You know, every year they call us up during the off season and they say, PDF, you know, we want you to be a part of our family here in the Elite Football Alliance. We love them so much. We love what they're building here with the EFA, 8 seasons strong. And everybody who's involved with the EFA loves being with the EFA. And that's something that we pride ourselves on as well. So thank you to those guys for having us be a part of their extended family every year. We want to thank everybody here involved with Joseph F. Facina Field. We get here, the press box is open, everybody's so hospitable, everybody's so nice. They never rush us out of here when the games are over. So thank you to everybody from Facina Field. Of course, our amazing camera operator, Alex Paramethis, just done a great job. He landed with us this year, has picked up, has done a little bit of everything, engineering, hero cam, regular cam. Just thank you so much, Alex, for everything that you've done. And Cam Williams, man, you came on as a sideline reporter with us with the Jersey Bearcats arena football team, interned your time with us. So grateful to have you involved with our PDF family. Great job on the color analysis these last 2 games. You guys have been great. A pleasure being with you. And finally, last but not least, a thank you to all of you who watch and tune in. The only reason why we get to do what we get to do is because you guys tune in and watch, and you give these teams a reason to have a live stream and a reason to be showcased, not just on our channel, but on other channels as well. And our job as a streaming entity is to showcase these great athletes and great leagues and bring them to life. So we thank all of you for tuning in and staying with us all year long. That's going to do it for us here at the PDF Sports Network. I'm David Pizzuto for our crew, Cam Williams and Alex Paramethis. We wish you a great rest of the weekend. Once again, your final score, the New York Bandits 34, the Empire State Demon Knights 22. The New York Bandits are your back-to-back Elite Football Alliance champions. Good night, everybody.